is here. It's big. And it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web. Or play it if you dare. At the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Live at the Bike, brought to you by the Bicycle Casino in Los Angeles, California, the first and only webcast of real action cash game poker. My name is Bart Hanson. I'm here with Dave Tuckman. Tonight's Monday, and we're going to try to make our comeback to Limit Hold'em next week, Dave. I know we had a couple people that came down here. 2+0, I was actually talking, just gave a tour to the booth, Private Joker.
I thought Monday was limit night.
I know, but we're going to be doing a $200 no-limit game. 3-5, no limit. So let's head on over to the table and let's get this going with a restricted buy-in no-limit game.
Let's do it, yeah. Let's see, $200 no-limit hold'em. First seat, number one, we've got Peter. Peter with the ES, I guess, ES hat there. I'm not sure what that stands for.
Yeah, Peter's a pretty solid player. We know we've seen him on the show before.
Seat number two, we've got Eric. And Eric's got about $300 in front of him. Got that side backward hat thing going on.
Yeah.
Seat number three, we got David. And David wants to be known as the Crusher, I think. So $220. Well, seat number four, we've got JR. Sporting the Jordan shirt there. He's got a little over 300. Seat number five, we've got He-Man.
He-Man, okay.
He-Man. Can't see how many chips he has, but he's got a nice yellow shirt on. Seat number six, we've got Richard. And Richard walking away.
Yeah.
He's coming back, though. Seat number seven, we've got Fernando sporting the Raider hat. I think he's instantly Isaac's favorite.
Yep.
Seat number eight, we've got Peter C. And Peter C. He's chomping on some grub there. And seat number nine, last but not least, we've got Todd. And I am not familiar with any of these players except for seat number one, which is Peter Greystoke. Love that guy's last name. But the only player I'm familiar with is seat number one. I don't know anybody else at this table, so it'll be a real interesting night. It's always fun when we get new players on the table.
All right, let's take a look at the first hand of the night here, Dave. Pocket Queen's race here, Fernando, and Peter C. pretty much made a re-raise with Ace-King, and Fernando called. And these guys are both really deep here.
Oh, wow, Peter is as well, huh?
Yeah, this is about a huge pot right now. Jack 7-3, about a $200 pot going to the flop.
Not a real good flop for Ace-King, huh?
Yeah, but you know what? It's not a real good flop for queens either, and I was talking about this with somebody too, because if the guy's re-raised with aces or kings, you're screwed, and if he's got jacks, it's one less hand that you can't
Right, I see what you mean.
Yeah, if you've got queens and a jack comes out in the flop and you're playing it defensively, that's not the best flop for queens.
Right, not knowing what you have.
Right. Well, Peter's going to bet 30 into a $200 pot, and Fernando's going to check call here. But Peter might even be playing it like he already has a set of jacks. Turns a spade, and Peter's got the king of spades in his hand.
100.
Gets checked to Peter. He's going to bet 100 now to about a $300 pot.
He's played this hand real passive, hasn't he?
He has indeed. $100 bet.
I mean, there's not much he can beat, is there?
Yes.
I mean, it can be ace-jack or king-jack.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a hand that Peter C. is trying to represent here. Obviously can't beat spades. Has no redraw. And he's going to throw it away.
Yeah, he showed the queen's face up, and he threw it away. And Ace-King is not going to show it.
Well, the river would have been the 8 of hearts. Wouldn't have changed anything. But obviously, like you pointed out, he couldn't beat kings, couldn't beat aces, couldn't beat jacks, and now he couldn't beat a flush.
Well, as always, if you want to keep this show interactive, you can head over to 2plus2.com, spelled out, click on forums. World Poker Tour and other televised tournaments. Looks like you piggybacked on a guy's question, Dave, and that's become the official Live the Bike thread for March 27th.
Oh, God.
As IPM was Kevin out tonight. But, so it's over there. Looks a little bit different. And as always, you can email us at liveatthebike.com with questions, comments, suggestions. Every time you're at the computer, something's always screwed up.
I know. I am literally
Always screwed up.
I touch a computer, it blows up. Got an interesting email from Med Crew over the weekend, I guess. I guess his name is Marty. He finally gave us his name. I'd love you to read it. Let you know what I was curious what you thought about it.
Limped around here.
So this game is a $200 buy-in.
Yeah, this is a
restricted.
$200 buy-in. The blinds for this game are 3 and 5. The chips that we use are yellow chips. They're $5 chips. And this game was moved from another table, so we've got a couple people that are really deep.
Yeah, and this game is
5-way action here. It's limped around. King 5-8 with a couple of clubs, and Peter in seat 1's got King Jack.
He's got the best hand here. Now this game, I was going to say, this game obviously plays smaller than the games we've been showing recently, like a $500
Right.
game. But this game still plays pretty big. I mean, I've actually won. My biggest win in this game was about $1,800 in one night. I mean, you can win a lot of money in this game.
Peter comes out with a pot-sized bet from up front. You got a free ride in the big blind, and he bets King Jack here. See where he's at. Doesn't look like he's going to get a call from anyone, and he does not get a call.
And I go as far as saying my worst losses in this game were actually $600.
Yeah.
It's actually not a bad game for. I think you can beat this game for profit. Usually the best way to beat this game is kind of the Russ Fox way of playing, where it's more of just pretty much play straightforward, raise when you got it, fold when you don't have it, don't make too many moves.
Am I expected to really read this email?
Oh, you didn't want to? I thought you were going to. I thought you were
No,
reading.
but maybe if our producer okays it, I'll read it. It's pretty funny.
I think it's hysterical. I laughed
Check
out
out
loud.
the email, Evelyn, from
Marty.
From Med Crew. Oh, okay. I'll read it here in a second.
15.
We've got a $15 raise here by seat 6 with King Queen.
Hey, Evelyn's not in the room. Let's just do it. She'll never know.
Oh man, great job.
$15 raise here by King Queen, seat 6. Couple limpers in front. And it looks like both people are going to call. Oh, C5 does not call, so we're heads up here. King Queen against King 10, Dave. Oh, Jack 5. It's about a $40 pot right now. And JR's going to check, and Richard's going to make a continuation bet.
It's pretty straightforward, and I imagine JR's going to throw this away. Not a real good flop for King 10 offsuit, huh?
Yeah.
And you can see he's in really bad shape.
And then every week, every other day, and then
Now, obviously, when I say you play it straightforward, that doesn't mean you can't check raise when you think your opponent has nothing.
Right.
Or you can't bet into a pot that you think your opponent's missed. Obviously, you can still get that kind of money. But, I mean, if you think your opponent has aces or kings, don't try to get him off it.
All right, let's read this email here from Marty. It says, hey guys, been a while. I had a question for you. I was involved in a no-limit home game with 1 and 2 blondes. While I was playing, my ex-girlfriend was posted under the rail, milking the proverbial cow. It helped my concentration immensely, as I was able to muck my hands I would normally play while focusing on the task
At hand.
at hand under the felt. Do you think it would be feasible to enjoy such amenities inside a casino, such as the bike, without fear of punishment or being expelled or banned from the casino? I mean, hand job, shoulder rub, what's the difference? I'd appreciate your input on the topic. Marty.
I love the thing that posted under the rail, milking the proverbial cow. Wow. You know, sometimes the risk, I guess when you're playing poker, you've always got to really think about the risk-reward. You know,
Right.
what's the worst thing that'll happen? You get kicked out of the casino. There's another casino.
Seat number
Try this at a different casino, though, not here.
Seat number 3 raised pocket jacks, and JR is re-raised with pocket kings here.
Bob's not coming, huh? The diesel.
guess what, neighbor? This is a courtesy call, okay? I still want to go back to.
And David is going to make the call here with jacks.
Courtesy call.
And here we go to the flop here. Well, it's overpair against overpair here, Dave. And again, if you're jacks, you can't beat pocket tens now,
Right, exactly.
nor any
Or
other
eights.
overpair. 10-8-4 with a couple of spades.
Both players, neither player has a spade in their hands, so David has no other outs. He needs a jack and only a jack. You know, Ray correctly pointed out that it gives new meaning to the term holding the nuts.
Looks like David checked it, and JR's going to bet. He's going to bet 50, and JR makes a quick call. Quick call there. It actually was an $80 bet, so this pot is over $250. Wow, the turn's an ace. Well, kings are still good. And now, David moves all in. On the ace, Dave. He's going to move all in
The problem
here.
is it's just not enough money.
Well, he's going to move all in for about, I want to say, 75 into a pot that's about 250.
85.
85 into a $250 pot here.
Now, David did bet the flop, so unless you put him on, unless you think he was betting with ace-king or ace-queen, if you put him on an overpair, well, you think your kings have to be good. And he's going to call this, and the pot is quickly $330.
Yeah, he makes the call, and the river's a 10, and kings are going to take it down there.
Yeah, both players have both players have 2 pair, but kings obviously are better than jacks.
Yep,
Every day of the week, twice on Sundays.
yep. And JR there is going to win a nice little pot. You know, it was funny, Dave. I was looking through the ESPN tournament fantasy page, that little thing that KevMath started over there on ESPN with the fantasy page. And out of 3 million, I think there were about maybe 2.8 million entries, 3 people, 3 have the correct Final Four.
Oh, it's
3 out of 2.8 million.
This is the first time in the history of me filling out a bracket. I didn't get 1 in there.
Yeah.
I didn't get 1. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Well, there's only one seed,
sad.
right?
No, there's
Oh,
no one
one
seeds.
seeds. Yeah.
There's only 1 2 seed. How's that?
Yeah.
There's a 2, a 3,
A
a
4,
4,
and
and
11.
11. Yeah, good luck. I want to congratulate the guy who won ours, though. I mean, he's
Or- yeah,
virtual
he's-
lock.
yeah.
99.9%. He's actually like in third. He's like in 3,000th place.
Yeah.
Which is pretty impressive out of 3 million people. Schaefer, I think is his name,
Yes,
right?
Schaefer.
Yeah.
Limit to round here, 5 ways. Again, we're playing 3-5 no limit, so it's actually 5 ways action. So it's about a $25 pot here. 10-5-8 with a couple diamonds. Doesn't look like anybody has a 10 here.
Where's it at? Check.
One of those guys is not in the hand.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out which one it is.
Yeah.
I don't think ace 4 is in the hand, Richard.
Get checked around. The turn
Yeah,
is
Richard's
a 4.
not in the hand.
Yep.
Check is good.
Turns a 4, and it's a 3rd diamond. And now seat 7 here is going to bet 20, Dave. Stone cold bluff. He does have a gut shot to the 7.
Well, nobody's really got anything. I mean, nobody even has a high diamond.
Yeah, JR's got the only diamond. It's the 9 of diamonds in his hands.
And David's open-ended now, but with 3 diamonds out there, do you really want to get involved?
And if he misses, queen high is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take it
And
down. Nice
actually,
bet.
JR is the crusher gentleman, Dave.
I know. I just thought it was funnier if David would be. Look at him. I always love those opposite nicknames, you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
get a Rottweiler and name it Tiny.
All right.
I actually had a friend who used to he named his cat Dog and his dog Cat. I like that stuff.
Again, you can email us at liveatthebike.com with questions, comments, suggestions, as always. Appreciated.
Finally, Med Crew gives us his name. Marty.
Marty.
Break for commercials.
Button's going to move over here to seat 2.
March 27th already, man. I tell you, time is flying by.
Absolutely. World Series right around the corner in about 3 months, huh?
Yeah. I'm really excited.
You know, I
about
tried to defend my Omaha title on Sunday last night, Dave.
Yeah.
I did not. Although I got in it by a $28 satellite, which was nice. But I did cash in a horse tournament over at Full Tilt.
that. Did you play them both at the same time?
Yes, they're at kind of at the same time. Seat 8's going to raise here with King Jack of Hearts, as well as playing a pot limit Omaha high-low tournament on Party. 3 at a time.
I have some other news on online poker, by the way. Thought it was interesting. I'll let somebody know about it at the hand.
So King Jack of Hearts has brought it in here. And it's over to JR, who has kind of a pretty weak hand here in the blind. Queen 7, but he's going to make the call.
I need 2 cards.
And Richard's going to fold. So we're heads up here for about $40. Queen 7 against King Jack, and the flop comes out 8, deuce 3. It misses both players.
Let's probably go check, bet, fold, you imagine.
Yep.
All right, Crusher.
Well, Peter's going to take it, and he calls him Crusher.
Check, check. The turn's a king, and that gives Peter top pair.
Yep, JR is now drawing dead. Cannot
Yeah.
win the hand unless he gets Peter to fillet it down. And now he's going to bet.
Well, he bets 15 here. I mean, it's pretty, a lot of guys will play king, queen, or ace, king sometimes like this,
Yeah, I mean, I actually like the instincts of JR. JR's instincts were, hey, you know what? I'm going to bet this But there's some hands, basically, if I don't see an ace, a king, a queen, or a jack, you go, okay, I'm going to bet it. But if you see one of those kind of scare cards, you kind of just shut up and just kind of,
And so JR bet 15, and Peter made a mini raise to 30, and JR has absolutely nothing here.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those times, okay, he took a shot at it. No problem, no shame in folding the hand. I mean, you really can't represent much here, but he's going to call.
Wow, he's going to call with queen high. He's drawing stone cold dead. With the river's a diamond, can he represent? Although now he has a pair, so a lot of times people might check this down, Dave.
Well, I mean, if he wants to bet, he's going to have to probably bet $100 to get Peter off this hand. I'm not even sure if it'll work then.
Yeah, the pot's $100 now.
I mean, he could have diamonds here. I mean, check the flop, bet turn, why not?
Actually, you know what? Even a $75 bet might. You know, he came out, he called the raise pre-flop, he bet the turn. King Jack can't beat a whole lot of hands right now.
I was going to say, in these kind of games, I don't really like to make these plays because they rarely work.
Well, he's going to bet half the pot. He bets 50. And again, Peter really only has a bluff catcher. He's getting 3-1 on his money, but he's going to make the call.
Yeah.
And again, I wonder, like you said, if you bet 75 or 100, would King Jack have called there? You know, sometimes we give. Go ahead.
I was going to say, good instincts by JR there to really follow through with that. I'm not sure. I obviously I don't know Peter well enough to know if he would have laid down to a bigger bet.
Yeah. What I was going to say was that sometimes we get on Russ Fox. He wrote that book about restricted buy and no limit hold'em. It's called Mastering No Limit Hold'em. But actually, you know, I've read it once or twice now. And, you know, sometimes the problem that we have with it is it can develop bad habits.
Right.
But it's actually not a bad style to play at this level, straightforward play.
Not at all.
But now you got a guy over in there in C8, he's got 600 or 700, and then you're against a guy who's also got 800. Well, now you're almost playing it like deep stack no limit with 3-5 blinds, you know?
Yeah.
So that's where, you know, if you ever play in that manner, real tight, solid, and then you develop a chip stack, and then now you don't know how to play when you're deeper, I think it's just the next step forward in your no limit hold'em game, playing deep stack.
And like you said, you correctly pointed out, it can develop bad habits.
Right. Got a raise here by seat number 7. He's going to bring it in with pocket 7s.
But if you are, you know, if you're happy playing at this level,
right?
You know, the $200 buy-in level, I think you can actually really beat this game and beat this game pretty well playing the Russ Fox kind of ABC style.
Now, will the rake and the jackpot eat you up in this game alive? I know it kind of does in the 100 game. You know, in this game,
I think you can beat this game enough to overtake the rake. And
it's a $4 off the top flat rate with $1 in the jackpot. So
it's $4, not $3.
Yeah, no, it recently moved up to 4 right before the winning of the green turn.
So 4 plus 1.
Yeah. So it's $5. And in this game, you know, oftentimes Dave and I say we don't chop in no limit. If I was playing in this game, I would chop.
Yeah,
you know, you're taking 50% of the pot if your head's up between the blinds.
Yeah, I mean, $5 off. I mean, you figure you get 30 hands an hour. That's $150 off the table.
Yeah.
And that's actually okay. You're only losing, say, you're not quite losing 10% of the table in an hour.
Well, if you divide 150 by 8, you're in essence, it's costing your portion a little under $20 an hour in rake.
Right,
pretty
exactly.
much. Yeah. That's kind of a quick way to calculate it. Sometimes people say, how do I compare a collection game with a rake game? Well, say you're playing 8-handed, and you figure 30 hands an hour. Well, it's going to be $150 off the top. Right. Divide that by the amount of players, and there's how much you are putting into the rake.
Even if you didn't win a lot of hands that hour, it's the best way to figure it out.
Just overall.
So we got a raise here from Peter with ace-king. He's in late position. JR's got ace-jack on the button. I think he's thinking of what to do, and he's going to just call. Ace-jack is a badly dominated hand, and he's in really bad shape here, but he does have position.
And we're heads up here. Ace-king against ace-jack.
And both players miss, which often happens.
10-8-5 here.
Peter's going to continue, though.
55.
Yeah, that's 55 here. We saw JR make that move, or make that call with queen 7, but he's going to make the call here.
I imagine not. He's going to throw it away.
Yeah. And again, you know, in this game, we're not all that deep stack. You know, if I was playing against a guy that I thought I could outplay, and I thought that he commonly will make a continuation bet, say Barry Woods had raised that up. Now, we know his pre-flop raises, it doesn't necessarily mean a big hand. If I called him with ace-queen and the flop came out 10-8-5, and he bet into me the pot, I might call him again in position, Dave. But in this game, you just don't have enough really
Right.
to finagle those types of situations because the guy who's going to make that continuation bet almost becomes pot committed with something like
Exactly.
this game.
I mean, if you've got $500 and Peter suddenly in seat one is $500,
Right.
maybe you smooth call one time, and if he misses on the turn and he checks to you,
Right.
well, then you can probably put a bet in and take it away.
Gotta love college basketball, man. Those mid-majors. I think it's the Colonial Conference, American
Phenomenal.
Colonial Conference. George Mason limped around here.
I have a lot of buddies that went to Florida, actually. They're going crazy.
I actually TiVoed Pardon the Interruption this afternoon. So I'm gonna watch it when I get home.
I
Let's see
watched it, actually.
Did you? Was it
I
good?
watched a little bit.
Yeah.
That was okay.
Yeah. Got a little raise here by seat 4. He's gonna raise with Queen 4 of Hearts. He's gonna make it 15 to go. And again, in this game, usually if I'm ever sitting in this game, I'd probably still raise 20 or 25. 15, 3 times the big blind in a cash game, Dave. It's just, not really all that much. 5-way action here. Well, he's got trip queens. Is he going to lead in with the continuation bet? A couple clubs out there. He flopped the best hand here.
This is one of those hands where he's really not going to make much money. And everybody checked to him, and he's the last place to bet.
The problem here, though, again, is if you bet, you get called, and somebody else has a queen, well, you're dead.
Oh, of course. The only hand you can beat right now is Queen 3.
It's about a $40 pot here. And he's going to bet 75. Oh, maybe he hopes maybe someone like pocket 9s would call him or something like that.
Well, sometimes there are pots where you're just not going to win a big pot. You got to realize that.
Well, again, though, this is not deep stack poker, but for some reason, if you brought a hand in with Queen 4, and the flop came out Queen, Deuce, Queen, and you bet and a guy check raised with your mom front and you respect his play, and he wouldn't do that with a flush draw with a paired board, you almost have to be done with the hand, don't you? I guess you can figure maybe it might be check raising with pocket 9s or pocket 10s.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on obviously who you're playing against. Would that player make that move with a pocket pair?
Right.
Thinking you missed, you don't have a queen there.
Yeah.
Now you were talking about the raise amount. Now in this game, when I start having $400, $500, $600, obviously I'm going to raise more, maybe up to even $30.
Yeah.
I actually play it kind of like the 5-5 game, like the 3 to 5 game we have.
Right.
Now in the beginning of this game, when we only have $200, I will often raise actually $15, maybe even 20 tops. I don't want to put more than 10% of my stack in pre-flop though.
Raise here by C2. He's got ace jack off suit. He makes it 25 to go. And C2 is going to call with ace 8 of diamonds. And Peter C's got queen jack suited over here in seat 8. And he's going to mini re-raise, Dave. I don't quite know the purpose of that. It was a $25 raise and a call, and now he re-raises. I always think that those mini re-raises just really opens it up to a re-raise by the original raiser. I mean, okay, if you want to call there, but do you really want to get re-raised with Queen Jack of Hearts here?
Well, first of all, you're putting more money in out of position.
Right.
You know they're going to call you anyway.
And both players call.
But the problem is now if Eric had ace king there, and Eric goes, you know what? I've
Right.
only got $80 left. I'm all in.
Right. Well, now the flop comes out 10-8 deuce here. It's a $150 pot. Well, Peter's going to lead. Trying to play it like an overpair, but as oftentimes we see, Dave, he's going to bet $40 into a $150 pot. Would you make that bet with aces or kings here? Now, Eric is totally missed here, and David actually has the best hand here with ace 8. He outflopped the ace jack. Now, there's not a whole lot that Eric can beat, and he's going to fold. And David is going to call here. He does not raise. And David's got the best hand here. Here we go to the turn. The turn is an ace, and now David's got aces up. Peter's got a flush draw.
And a straight draw.
Yep, flush draw and a gut shot to the king.
Actually, a double gutter. A 9 would do it as well.
That's right. He's got a double gutter and a flush draw. He bets 125 and a quick call here, and we've got almost a $500 pot to the river. And the river is a deuce, and aces and 8s are going to be good here. Yeah, big draw there on the turn. He's got 9 hard outs plus a 6 straight outs.
Yeah, I don't mind the bet of the flop. I mean, he's betting there with backdoor hearts and a gut shot and overcards.
Yeah.
Now he picks up the ace of hearts. Well, hey, you know what? Maybe this guy was calling me with like pocket jacks or something, or jack 10. Maybe I can use the ace as a scare card.
Yeah.
And plus, hey, I got a big draw. I don't mind what he calls me.
Again, you can email us, as always, at live@thebike.com with your questions, comments, suggestions. Also, check out a live thread started on 2plus2. 2plus2.com, spelled out. Click on forums, World Poker Tour, etc. Official Live the Bike thread for March 27th.
It's what?
Button's going to move over here to seat 7.
Pocket 10s for Peter in seat number 1. Pocket kings for seat number 8. And he is in the small blind now. He just raised out of the big blinds. We wonder if maybe this table is going to think he's getting out of line. Peter does pay attention to the players he's playing against, so it'll be interesting to see how he plays. Now, Peter's raising under the gun, which really suggests a pretty big hand. I mean, minimum ace-king, I would say. And that's Peter in seat 1, obviously, who's raising under the gun.
Right.
And let's see how Peter C. raises. And it looks like he's going to re-raise. And he does. He makes it a minimum re-raise. That'll probably be enough to get Todd out of the hand. Todd's got queen 10.
So it's the mini re-raise here again. And Peter's just going to move all in. Well, again, he's kind of on the short stack here.
And you know what? The interesting play, obviously, when Peter raised last hand out of this big blind with queen jack, you might think, is this guy getting out of line? And it's always perfect after you bluff to pick up a big hand.
I don't know if that queen jack necessarily got shown down.
But he knows he moved all in and couldn't beat an ace.
70 more here. Well, he could have beaten the ace-king there.
Right, good point, good point.
Ace 9-8 here, no help for Peter. Turns a jack, but Peter's open-ended. He gets 7, a queen, or a 10. And the range is 7. Peter's going to take it down there with a straight.
Let's bump it.
There you go.
Hey, Peter's a pretty good player, and, you know, even good players suck it out once in a while, too.
Yeah, you know, Peter normally plays the 3 to 5 game, but I'm sure he's stepping down here tonight because he wants to play on Live the Bike.
What are you going to do?
He actually he's been dying to get on Live the Bike for a while, but we have not had the 3 to 5 game. We go to the 500 game, which is a little bit out of his comfort zone right now. I would suspect if he continues playing 3 to 5 as well as he plays it, he'll probably be in the 500 game before we know it.
And we are probably going to do the 3 to 5 game tomorrow.
Yeah.
And hopefully next week on Monday we'll have a return to our limit game.
Yeah, we're kind of trying to get back to our schedule now, so that would mean Tuesday's our 3 to 5 game, Wednesday's our whale game, which is 25-50 blinds. Thursday's going to be kind of smaller, no limit, either this game or even the $80 game.
Right.
And Fridays are Friday night, kind of fun Friday night, double fist night. Blinds are 10-20 in that game.
Yeah, you know, for anyone that wants to come down to the show, Thursday's probably definitely going to be a 2 or an 80 game.
Yeah.
So, again, you can, I think you can call your name into the board. You actually want to ask for Donna.
Yeah.
When you call and try to see what the game is going on, what game is going on. And again, Private Joker, I believe, showed up here today, and he thought it was going to be 8-16, fought the traffic to get down here, but we just couldn't get that game down.
I felt bad. He actually sent me a private message on 2+2, and I emailed him. I sent him one back at like 5:30, and I said, I'm not sure what we're going to be able to get up.
Right. Seat number 5 here is raised, and seat number 8 is going to re-raise.
And he's picked up a real hand again. He's in great shape. He's got ace-queen to seat 5's king-queen.
Yep.
And JR's got jack-10. He's thinking about it, but
yep.
I can't imagine he's going to get involved with jack-10 offsuit here. What would Michael Jordan do? I know Michael Jordan's a big gambler. I wonder, is he a poker player?
This is respect.
I don't know. I've never heard of Jordan playing poker.
I know A-Rod plays poker big time.
Well, king-queen out of position here is a pretty much no-brainer hand.
Problem is, you're just wondering, is seat number 8 getting out of line? You know, is he steaming? He just lost with pocket kings. Do you think maybe he's making this move with like some raggedy old hand? Problem is, though, king-queen, if you're calling up your chips here, you know, how many hands are you really a favorite over? You know, over any small pocket pair, you're a small underdog. You know, unless the guy's got exactly like king-jack or king-10 or queen-jack, you know, you're pretty much in a race situation. And you might be dominated.
He's going to get rid of it. And Peter C. with that aggressive play just got sucked out before. Again, you talk about it almost makes it look like you're on tilt a little bit, right? You know, we get on those aggressive players that slow play their big hands because we don't really see what the point is. Another time where you would never slow play a big hand pre-flop is after you just won, after you just lost a big pot, Dave, right?
Definitely.
I mean, you got to drive forward. Make it a ridiculous raise with aces.
Yeah.
Make it seem like it's a steal. People are watching that. They're trying to notice it.
That actually happened for me in the World Series of Poker.
Yeah.
In the event where I finished, I want to say like 60th, 64th, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Right after I lost a pretty bad beat, I had 2 pair and a guy rivered a flush on me.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I threw my hand away. The next hand I picked up kings. And a guy raised early on, and I made a ridiculous overbet all in. And the guy called me with like ace-7, just thinking that I was steaming. So.
Got a $40 raise here by Pocket Queens here. Seat 5, he's going to bring it in again.
Pocket 7s for seat number 7. And he's going to call this. Wow, big call.
Yeah.
This is a 200 game, right?
He's in big trouble.
Wait a second, I'm trying to figure this out here. He's actually raising it up.
Wow, he's going to re-raise here, Dave.
And he's in bad shape here.
Yeah.
Yeah, seat number 5 made it 40 to go, He-Man. And Fernando in seat number 7 with the 7s has made it 140 to go. And the problem with raising with a hand like that is, unless you're playing a tournament, this is not a tournament. You're either going to win the $40, or if you get called, you're in really bad shape.
And as we can see from He-Man's stack, he only has 90 left, and I'm sure they're all going in here with queens.
Oh, no brainer.
Yeah. Again, if you try to outplay people on the short stack, you're just kind of outplaying yourself because you've taken all the play away from it. And exactly what you're saying, you're either going to get called by a better hand. Now, you might get called even here by ace-king. There's almost nothing that you can like here if you've got 7s. Well, He-Man's thinking about it, but with these stack sizes...
Is he really thinking about it?
Well, he's got about 125 left.
I mean, in a deep game,
right.
We talk about this hand going, man, you're losing to aces, you're losing to kings, you're losing to ace. I mean, you're 50-50 with ace-king. Do you really want to commit your chips? But in this game, I mean, call me crazy, but my money's going in there with queens. The guy's got me. Hey, you got me. Good for you. I'll buy him for 200 more.
In this game.
Yeah.
Right.
There's just too many hands you could have. You could also have jacks and 10s.
Right.
Look at Fernando. He's got 7s.
You could have ace-queen like we saw last hand, right?
Yeah.
And he makes the call. He's actually got $20 left. Well, the pot is about $250 here as we head to the flop.
I hope he doesn't scare himself out if an ace comes out.
Well, I don't think that's going to scare anybody. He checks. Fernando moves all in, and He-Man's going to call.
And he's shaking his head. He thinks he's beat.
Well, the funny thing there is he left himself $20. What if the flop came out ace-king-4, Dave? Would he have folded?
That's what I wondered. I was wondering if he was going to scare himself out of there.
Picks up a set on the turn, and he takes it down there with 3 queens.
And did Fernando show the 7s or no?
Couldn't quite see. Yeah, I guess he did show it.
And you see players in seat 7, seat 8, pretty liberal re-raisers. I mean, pocket 7s against a short stack. Not only am I not re-raising, I'm probably not even calling there. I'm not going to call $40. The guy's only got 140 left. The implied odds just aren't there. For me to call a $40 raise pre-flop, my opponent's got to probably have $400 or $500.
Right.
And I want to have him covered.
What happens to the old Great Burgundy?
Oh, they've replaced us with
But-
this new blue.
Button's going to move over here to seat 1.
Maybe eventually if they decide they like it.
Seat number 1, that's Peter.
I'm going to have to give it the thumbs up.
I tell you, Ray, our cameraman, he should just stand up. He's hysterical. You know what I watched last night? He's my new favorite comedian, Ron White.
Really?
Oh, my God. The guy is absolutely off the hook. He's so funny. So funny.
Limp here. Are you a big Jeff Foxworthy guy, Dave?
I'm not. I'm not a big Jeff Foxworthy fan at all, actually. I'm not a big stand-up comedian guy, to be honest.
No, neither am I.
Ron White is really funny. He just sits on the stage and drinks his scotch. And he's just a funny guy. His delivery is, flawless.
4-way action here. 8-8-4, and He-Man's got Jack-8. He's limped around. Let's see if he's going to bet out with trips.
Yeah, nobody's got anything here.
Yeah, he's going to bet. There's 2 hearts on board. I always like to see betting at this level. It usually means the player... No, he's going to check it, Dave.
After he fondles his chips for a little while.
Turns at 3. That doesn't help anyone.
I think the table's drawing dead to him now.
Yeah, you can see the check mark there. He-Man's hand.
And you got to realize that sometimes you're not going to make money on a pot.
Going to bet $50 here.
$50
And I don't think anyone's going to take it down. You know, that actually would start me on a hand, Dave. My last hand that I played on Friday night at the end of Double Fist Night, I was telling you about it today. Oftentimes we talked
I was
about...
actually watching. I just cashed in and was walking
Yeah.
out.
Oftentimes we talk about controlling pot size and what techniques you can do with a hand that you think is somewhat vulnerable. I had actually called a pre-flop raise, a considerable raise with king deuce suited on the button. Now I had different reasons for doing that. Obviously that's not normally a hand that you want to play. But I had my reasons. I'm not going to get into that. Normally you're not going to call a pre-flop raise with that hand.
Right. We were playing relatively short as well.
Flop came out ace, king, deuce. The pre-flop raiser bet the pot. I raised the pot. I had bottom 2 pair. The other guy got out, and he called. There was 2 hearts out there.
Right. Obviously, you were aware of the fact that he might have ace-king.
Ace, king, deuce. The turn came queen. He checked me. Now, I actually checked the turn, figuring there's almost nothing I can beat. I want to control pot.
Right. I was going to say, what was your thinking on that when the queen comes off? First of all, when he calls your raise, you're thinking of possible hands he might have. You're thinking, okay, definitely has an ace.
Right.
Might he have ace-king? Might he have ace-queen? Might he have ace-jack?
Right. So I'll get to that in a second there. So he makes the call on the flop. The turn is a queen. He checks, and I check. And I'll get to it in a second. Raise here by seat 6. Richard with pocket 8s. Peter C is going to call there with queen jack. Now, queen jack, we talk about the value of that hand, flopping Broadway straight, but Richard only has about $60 left here. So, yeah, very little value in queen jack when you're short.
Well, when you're short or your opponent is short, obviously hands that are more speculative, like suited connectors, small pocket pairs, they really go out the window because the implied odds just aren't there.
Now, He-Man had limped in here with king 9 of clubs. He's not going to call.
It's one of the reasons I really don't like to play short stack poker and no limit hold'em.
3-way action here, $60 pot.
That's a nice flop for ace.
David's got a flush draw with overcards. And Richard's Richard's got maybe 150. It looked like he's going to bet 75 here. 7-5-4 on this flop. Now, David, again, he's got overcards and diamonds. Heads up against Richard. You'll see that David's a favorite with 2 cards to
once
come.
Peter folds, you'll see that David is a favorite. And there it is.
$75 bet. He's betting over the size of the pot here, and Richard has about 100 left. So there probably isn't that much fold equity unless the guy has ace-king. He makes the check call. These can be somewhat sticky situations. The turn is an ace.
Well, can you represent there? I mean, if you're thinking about some cards you can represent, can you represent the ace?
Well, he checks, and Richard moves all in.
And now David's in a tough spot.
And the reason why I think that's a little bit of a sticky situation in this game with queen 10 of diamonds is there probably isn't any fold equity, but your hand is so strong you almost don't want to fold. You almost want to check raise all in and hope to get a call. The river's a king. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a weird situation when you're figuring out, and I was actually thinking about this in between hands today. Richard bet 75 on the flop. He's got about 100 left. So the pot now is about 135. Well, if I check raise all in and think that there's no fold equity, I am basically check raising him 100, assuming that he's going to call. So I am putting in $175 in the pot, the original bet, plus 100, to win 235.
Right. And you're more than 50%. You're definitely positive.
However, you don't know with queen 10. Now, ace king of diamonds is a little more clear-cut positive.
Obviously, your opponent can easily have jacks there.
Right. Queen 10 of diamonds is a little different. What if he's got kings?
Right. We got a chip count here.
Yeah.
We have $2,600 on the table. And let's see how they're doing.
Yep.
And there it is. He-Man is in the lead. He's up $300. The rest of the table is losing. But we'll keep catching that all night. You're right. Obviously, your opponent can have jacks there with queen 10 of diamonds.
Right.
Ace king of diamonds is much more clear-cut. My play there, to be honest with you, my favorite play there is to bet right into him, though.
Right.
If I have a big draw like queen 10 of diamonds, I'm going to bet right into him and not check raise. Because if I check raise, there really is no fold equity. But if I bet into him, there might be some. And if I get raised, okay, so no be it, I have no problem moving in. So get back to this hand. So now the queen falls on the turn.
Well, we're going to get into this hand.
Another hand. They just keep playing?
Fernando is raised here with pocket 9s.
Well, nobody's got anything. Nobody's going to call him.
Peter called with king 3 of diamonds.
What?
And JR's thinking about calling over there with 10-4 of clubs.
Okay, well, what do I know?
Doesn't look like he's going to call. And I don't think He-Man's going to call when he folded that king 9 of clubs before. And we're heads up, and 9s are in real good shape here. One overcard here for Peter. 8-4-7, pretty good flop for 9s.
Yeah, pretty bad flop for Peter.
50?
Fernando's going to bet 50 here.
And that'll do it.
And Peter's going to, I assume that Peter's going to fold.
Yeah.
So anyways, the turn comes a queen, and it's an offsuit queen.
And he checks to you.
He checks to me. Now, I'll tell you how the hand played out. I checked behind him. The river was a blank. And now he throws a $500 bet out on the river. And it puts me in a real tough spot.
And the pot was about 500, so he's betting the pot.
Puts me in a real tough spot with King Deuce. King Deuce can almost beat nothing.
Right.
But we were talking about how you can actually bet a little bit with a board that you don't think two pair can check raise on the turn to control pot size. Because I could have bet 275 on the turn as opposed to checking the turn and facing a $500 bet in the river, because I could have Jack 10 of hearts. I would have made that raise maybe on the flop with Jack 10 of hearts,
Right.
Ace King Deuce with 2 hearts. I also could have bottom set,
Yeah.
right?
Right. In all, well, by betting the turn there, and obviously the more you play these hands, you can
Right.
think about it. We discussed this. By betting the turn there, he probably just calls you. Then on the river, he checks to you, and you check behind.
Right.
And you find that you lost Ace King. No
Right.
big deal.
Right.
Or let's say he really thinks his Ace King is good. He checks to you. You bet 275. He check raises you to 700, and you could easily muck your Queen Deuce.
Right. King Deuce.
King Deuce, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Peter's going to raise here with queens.
I mean, I don't mind getting check raised there. If I get check raised, you know you're dead.
Yeah. But I don't think you can really check raise with Ace King there. I mean, maybe
Probably
you might.
not. Probably not. But hey, if he does, though,
Yeah.
you don't lose any more money anyway.
Again, if I was in his spot, and especially against a player like me who faced a pot-sized building bet on the turn, I'm almost just crying calling there.
With Ace King.
Yeah, queens is raised here, and he gets called in a couple spots. Good flop here for queens for Peter.
Hey, I got to tell you though, call me crazy, call me Barry Woods if you want to. If I have Ace King on a flop of Ace King Deuce, you're gonna have to show me a set of deuces to make my money. I'm probably gonna call you down. You know what I mean? Now the heart comes to a different story.
Peter's going to bet 40 here. He's going to bet a little under the size of the pot here. And is Todd going to get involved here with queen 9? He's got middle pair, and he's in horrible shape. And he looks like he is going to... He's going to... Is he raising?
Looks like he did a little mini raise, or did he just call?
No, it's just a call.
Okay.
Okay, 2 players.
Heads
And
up here.
We're heads up here. Turns a 4. Now, with those stack sizes and a guy behind me, with queen 9, if I was going to play that, I probably would push on the flop.
Yeah, if you were gonna play.
Yeah.
Big if. I don't think you would play it though.
Peter's going to bet now 100 here, and Todd's put himself in such a spot where he doesn't know where he's at.
And he's drawing pretty slim. I mean, he's a 9 and only a 9.
Yep.
And that's pretty much how you can figure it out there. If you have 2 outs with 1 card to come,
Yep.
you're about a 5% chance of hitting your hand.
He's going to call here again, and that's pretty much going to put him all in, and it does. He needs a 9 and only a 9 here. And again, sometimes when you get involved with these types of hands, this is what happened. Rivers to Jack.
Yeah, this is what we talk about playing in the sense of if you play it pretty straightforward, ABC, and you wait and you're disciplined and
Right.
patient, you can beat this game.
Right.
You can beat this game pretty good. I mean, I want to say that when I was playing this and I was playing it more consistently, I don't think I ever got enough hours to really accurately figure out what my hourly was. But I was looking at like probably about $40 an hour
Yep.
in this game.
200 on seat 9.
Now, when you were talking about that hand you were playing there, by betting 275 on the turn, you basically assured yourself that is the absolute most you will lose on this hand.
But what I was going to say, though, to you was that, especially on the flop, if I come out and bet the flop and it's ace, king, deuce with 2 hearts,
Right.
especially if you're deep stacked, if you feel that your ace, king is good there, I guess you could check raise, but you might wait and see what the turn brings about as well before committing chips. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So, and I got to tell you, the queen coming on the turn, it might be a bad card for ace, king.
Of course
there.
it is.
I mean, I could definitely have Jack 10 of hearts there. So
Yeah.
I don't think that if you held ace king, you could check raise a guy that was betting like that at any
No,
point.
probably not.
Yeah.
But I guess my only point was that if he happens to check raise you,
Yeah.
if he actually really thought his ace king was good and he wasn't
Yeah.
even thinking about Jack 10 because it was a gut shot, and
Yeah.
he wasn't putting you on Jack 10 of hearts specifically.
Yeah.
If he check raises you, you know your 2 pair is no good.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
no way it can be good. I mean,
And actually, you know, I was winding down a long session, and I actually made that call in the river, and the more and more I think about it, the more and more it was a horrible call, because there was just absolutely nothing I could beat.
Yeah.
There's no way he's going to probably call my raise with ace jack and then lead out on the river with all those cards out there. The only thing I can probably beat is maybe if he say had queen jack of hearts, Dave. Because remember, he called my raise on the flop, and the flop was ace king
yeah.
deuce.
And the more you think about it, obviously it's so easy in hindsight.
Yeah.
pocket aces here for David. So easy in hindsight
Right.
to figure out what everybody has and what you should do. But obviously, the more you thought about it, once the queen comes off, there's really nothing you can do.
Yeah.
20.
He's gonna raise it up to 20 here. David is with pocket aces.
Especially considering he was the pre-flop raiser.
Yeah.
You raised him on the flop, and he called, and now he's leading into you on the river. But hey, live and learn, right? I'm still waiting for that perfect session where I don't make any mistakes. It hasn't happened yet. And I've been doing this for about 3 years.
Is it a raise?
Look at this. The station on 2+2 posted up that Helmuth's actually coaching Jordan now in poker.
Oh, that's awesome.
2 players.
And the reason why we haven't seen Jordan on TV playing poker before, Dave, look at this. He-Man's got an open-ended straight draw with backdoor hearts. It's because Jordan refuses. He's such a competitive guy. He refuses to put himself in any type of situation where he might feel he's outclassed in an event on TV. So maybe he just doesn't feel strong enough now. You know, he's got that killer instinct, you know.
Of course, of course.
He does play in those celebrity golf events, but he's like almost a scratch dog golfer now. He's like a 3 or 4 handicap.
He's a great golfer.
Yeah.
He's such a great athlete. I mean,
Yeah.
guy could pick up any sport and probably be great at it. But
He-Man's going to come out and bet here.
poker's kind of the great equalizer. The cards don't care if you're a billionaire. They don't care if you're smart. They don't care
Right.
anything. It's one thing I love about playing cards.
So it's a $50 bet here by
I think
David.
this is an easy just call situation.
And He-Man calls. Turns a 10, and now He-Man's got a pair in a straight draw, and Aces moves all in.
And now it's a math problem for you. If you
Well-
put the guy in, even if you put him on ace-king. Let's say you put him on ace-king.
The pot is about 150 plus 125, 275, 125 to call. It's getting about 2.5 to 1 here.
And he's got to figure out, okay, if I catch my 10, it's probably good. If I catch a 9, it's probably good. If I catch a jack, is it good? If I catch a 6, it's good. If you think all those cards are outs, you know, do you have the odds to call?
He almost was, and we can see the river's a 9, and he would have won. We can see it was 70-30 there. So like you said, you're open-ended for 8 outs, plus 2 more 10s, plus 3 more 2-pair outs. 13 outs with 1 card to come. It's close.
Yeah,
3 to 1,
oftentimes-
2.5 to 1. It's real close.
Oftentimes people will go, well, I don't want 2 pair then because the board is then 7, 8, 9, 10. But unless you put your opponent on a jack,
Yeah.
you don't think your opponent has a 7, a 6 there.
Right.
So unless you put your opponent specifically on a jack, and that would be, I guess, king jack or pocket jacks. Hey, a 9 is probably good.
Pocket queens here for seat 9, and we got ace-king suited for seat 2.
Man, some big hands out there. King, queen for seat 6. I mean, we're seeing big hands all night long.
So all the queens are pretty much dead. Well, there's one left. $30 raise here by Eric. He brings it in. Ace, king, and diamonds.
Classic ace, king versus queens.
Booyah.
It won't be now.
And let's see how Todd is going to play it over here in the big blind. He's got 2 ladies. You know, with these stack sizes, Dave, this brings up a little interesting situation as well. They both have about the minimum here. They've got about 200 each. Todd is choosing to re-raise here. Now, obviously, an under-the-gun raise can represent. There are a lot of hands that queens can beat, obviously. He's going to raise it 100. And Eric's just going to move all in, and now Todd has to call, obviously.
You know, in short stack poker, that's going to happen, and you can't
Yeah.
fault either player. I don't mind that at all. Do you? I mean, if you start talking about big stack poker and you both
Right.
have $1,200, $1,300 behind it,
There's the ace. We know there's only 1 queen left.
yeah, and he's in bad shape, obviously.
Yeah, river's at 5.
What's your total there?
Todd's going to, and Eric is going to take
Why
it
does
down
he
with
have
the
to
ace.
get? Why does Michael Jordan have to get advice from Phil Hellmuth? God,
No, you got to do what you got to do. I got to do what I got to
You
do.
have respect for Helmuth's play?
I do. I don't know. I know he's a fine guy. I mean, I don't really know him. I can't really say. I've
a
only
fine
played with
guy.
him. I've only played with him once. But out of all the guys to teach him how to play poker, Phil.
Well, I guess it depends if it's a tournament or a cash game, right?
You know, I guess if he wants to become a tournament player, it's a good guy to get advice
He's got
from.
9 World Series bracelets.
I know. If he wants to become an all-around player, though, hey, you know what? All the luck in the world, and hopefully he'll learn how to play cash games from Phil as well, and he'll jump in our games.
Bud's going to move over here to see it. Actually, you know, Phil Hellmuth on one of the episodes, he was featured the first time on one of the GSN episodes of High Stakes Poker last year, Dave.
Yeah.
He said that in the last 2 years, he's only had 1 losing cash game session. And then Gabe Kaplan quickly pointed out that he's probably had only 1 session in the last 2 years.
There you go.
Button's got ace-queen here. He's been pretty aggressive. That's Peter.
What is this now? CW Siggy says, hey, have you guys ever heard the rumors about Phil Mickelson being a degenerate gambler? I have not heard that rumor, and we don't want to spread evil, ugly rumors out there. But hey, if it's true, it's true.
We got a razor by seat 4 with 5, 6
But I didn't
hearts.
say it.
And let's see what seat 8 is going to do. You re-raised with ace queen before. Let's see what he's going to do now.
Now, wasn't it you who were telling me about how Phil was on GSN high stakes poker? Wasn't Phil Hellmuth on GSN high stakes?
You obviously just ignored what I said to you 2 minutes ago, right?
You were saying that he played, but you were saying, didn't he just get, he just got his ass kicked that night, right? You said.
He did. And what I'm
Right.
saying is when
Oh.
they introduced him, he said everyone thinks I'm a cash game donk, but I've only had one losing session in the last 2 years.
Until that session, I guess.
Well,
that's what he's
I guess
claiming.
that's number 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Supposedly, he also was on a plane trip. I guess he and Larry Flint.
Yeah,
and
I read
Phil
that
Ivey-
article.
Yeah, the
So-
card player.
Peter made a little mini re-raise here, and JR's got a flush draw and a gut shot. Interrupting Dave Tuckman again here. Look at the odds here, because Peter does not have a pair. And JR's got a gut shot, straight flush draw.
he's
No
got-
pair with a draw.
That's
It's
a
big.
huge hand. I mean, especially if you don't put your opponent on pocket 8, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oftentimes you don't want to go for a flush or a straight in a paired board, but in a raised pot, that's not real flop I'm scared of.
He's going to bet 75 here.
And I like the way that he's betting right into the razor.
Right into the re-raiser. And it looks like he's going to make ace queen's going to make the call. But again, as you can see, no pair against no pair with the draw. No pair with the draw is ahead. Here we go to the turn. Turns at 10. And this is going to change the percentages a little bit.
Of course, now if JR continues betting, I imagine he's going to take this pot down.
Pot's about $230 now.
Does JR have the cojones to get in there, mix it up a little bit more? If he bets one more time, he's probably going to take this pot down. And you start thinking, would Peter just call me with an overpair? If he had pocket 9s, pocket 10s, pocket jacks, would he just call? Or is he calling with ace king? I mean, I imagine if he gets to the 100 here, he's probably going to take it down, don't you?
This is one of the bigger 200 games we've ever seen on the show. I mean, we've already had pots of over 400 a few times.
Yeah.
We almost raised last time. I checked.
He checks. Again, the pot is about 230. And Eric's going to check behind him, Dave. And here we go to the river. Oh, and there's the ace. And I don't think Eric's going anywhere now. Or Peter's going anywhere now.
And unfortunately for JR, it's the ace of diamonds.
Yeah, he's missed everything.
Well, he was a favorite on the flop.
What you were going to say, though, looks like he might bet here, though, Dave. He's cutting out chips. Back from Monte Carlo, Phil Hellmuth, and he's going to bet. He's going to bet 75, and I think this is an easy call here for Peter C.
Of course.
I mean, would you ever raise in this spot?
Would you ever raise in this situation? I don't think you can.
No, I don't either. I think this is an easy just call.
Yeah, I mean, can you get called by anything?
Can you do that?
You have the ace of hearts, remember, too. So if the guy was not leading with the nut flush draw, because you have the ace of hearts.
Yeah, and if he's got a, I mean, I'm trying to think of what you can get called by here. I mean, I guess if he was bluffing you with the ace, I don't even know. I mean, if he was bluffing you with an ace,
Now he calls here, Dave.
but you like you correctly pointed out, he has the
Yeah.
ace of hearts. So
What I was saying, what you had said there before I rudely interrupted you, on the way back from Monte Carlo, it was Hellmuth, Mattisau,
Phil Ivey,
Phil Ivey, and Larry Flint
Right.
playing four-handed limit hold.
and supposedly, I guess Phil Hellmuth lost. I guess that was his third losing session.
Well, Hellmuth actually wrote an article. I think it was in the Miami newspaper. I saw it before it came over and came out in Card Player. Then it came out in Card Player last issue. And the most interesting thing about that was that Hellmuth was saying that he thought that Ivy might be a little off his game because he had won so much in the Monte Carlo Millions, and that he was playing pretty much a tenth at the level he normally plays.
Right.
But he wasn't. He was spot on at any level he plays. You know?
Phil Ivey's got to be right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you, whether the guy's playing a small no-limit game, and obviously not this small, but I'm
Right.
saying for him a small
Right.
no-limit game, or whether he's playing for millions against Andy Beal,
Right.
or whether he's playing a $5,000 or a $10,000 tournament,
Right.
he's just got to be one of the most feared players out there today.
Buttons over in seat 9.
5-4 suited in seat number 1 in the small blind. He's going to limp in.
Yeah, it's limped around here 3 ways.
Yeah, the button just limped in there with ace-9 off suit.
8 deuce 6 with a couple hearts. This misses everybody.
Yeah, Eric's got second pair to jack 6.
Well, Peter's going to lead. He's got a double gutter here, Dave.
Yeah, 7 or a 3 would do it for him.
Yeah, that's 20.
Yeah, jack 6 does not get involved, and I imagine Peter's not going to get involved either. You know, if you're just going to limp in with ace-9, you know, get away from it. And he does.
Did you see that crash over at in the Indy cars? That guy.
Oh man!
Now those guys
went and played. They went and raced afterwards too.
I don't know all that much about car racing, but from Isaac,
yeah,
he's a big Formula One guy, and one of the main knocks he has on NASCAR racing is, I think they have these. I forget what it's called. What are the things called? It slows them down on their carburetor. No, on their carburetor. Restrictor plates.
Yeah.
Now, Indy cars, I do not believe have those, right? Or they're pretty much they go faster than NASCAR than stock cars. That's the point.
Yeah.
And this guy hit this guy head on at about 230 miles an hour. Unbelievable.
Hey, I mean, the guy dies. He gets airlifted off.
Yeah.
They all, they have a moment of silence, and they go, "Okay, let's go race." I can't. I mean, hey, all the power to him. I can't believe that though.
Limped around here. You know, you wonder what the odds are of being a professional racer, of either being seriously injured or dying over the course of a 15, 20-year career. I mean, look at Dale Earnhardt, right? He didn't make it. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, I mean,
4-way action here. Queen, deuce, 8 with a couple hearts.
Yeah, JR's got the best hand here at the queen.
I mean, I was never a big, huge race car fan.
David's picked up a heart draw here. He's got ace-10, 10 of hearts.
3 on the turn.
And Eric picks up a pair of 3s. And JR's going to bet his queen now. He checked the flop.
Yeah, he's going to put a little timid bet out here with queen 9.
See where he's at. I think he's going to take it down. No. Seat number 2 is going to give him a little resistance, Eric. Turn is a 10. That changes nothing. JR's going to take this down.
Well, wait a minute. Now Eric's going to bet 20. He check-called the turn. Now he's going to bet 20 here on the river.
Well, the pot is about $40. I can't imagine his $20 bet's going to do it. The pot is now 60, 20 to call. Getting 3 to 1 on your money. You have top pair.
It almost smells like maybe a pair and a flush draw. Pair of 8s and a flush draw, maybe, you know? Jack 8, King 8, hearts.
I remember, yeah, he checked it.
Yeah, he makes the call.
Twice.
Yeah.
Then he called you, and now he's betting.
Yeah. There it is.
Take it down, JR. I mean, it always amazes me when you see something like that. I mean, obviously, you just feel bad for you. You feel for his family, and you feel for, his friends and stuff. But I mean, I guess you can compare it to poker in the sense that, if somebody dies at a poker tournament, they'd probably just continue playing.
Well, we've talked about it here. We've had, 3 people die at the stud high-low table?
Well, not at the table. Was it actually at the table?
I think a couple of them were.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was actually like in the hotel across the street or at home. And
Button's going to move over here to seat 2.
I mean, call me a wuss, but I tell you, if somebody dies at my table, that's going to shake me up a little. I might take a day off.
Well, seat 1's got pocket deuces. He's going to limp.
All right. Just to get you company this
3-way action here. So it's going to be a $10 pot with the drop. 3 ways. Here we go. Queen 5, 10, and seat 4's got queen 5 here. He checked it, and it's going to get checked around. Turns a 9, so JR did not bet with top and bottom here.
Yeah, nobody's got anything. And the dangerous thing with when you check that kind of flop, you give your opponents free draws. Now, in this case, nobody really had a draw. But if somebody had king jack or jack 9 or clubs, you're letting him get a free ride. Hey, what if a deuce came off in the turn? Is he going to go broke against Peter?
I think he would have.
Right,
An offsuit deuce, like say a deuce of spades, right?
Yeah.
Well, David's going to bet 10 here, and he's going to raise. He makes it 30.
I mean, I guess there are flops you can slow play. That's not a flop I really want to slow play.
And he ends up making an extra $10 by getting a $10 bet by David. But like we said, if the deuce of spades comes there, he's going to lose 300.
Right. Hey, if a 10 comes off, his 2 pairs almost worthless.
Right.
Oh, then all he has is queens and 10s and a 5 kicker.
Have a straight on there. Up there.
Once again, we're live at the bike, folks. I'm David Tuckman here at Bart Hanson. You're watching No Limit Hold'em. Blinds are 3 and 5. It's a $200 restricted buying game. A lot of the players have more than that now. Now, if you go to the felt, if you go broke to the felt, you can actually rebuy for $300. But you can see, like, seat number 8 there. He's probably close to $800.
Pocket jacks here for Eric in seat 2.
How was your weekend?
It was good.
Yeah?
Caught Napoleon Dynamite on HBO.
Oh, that's good. Good movie.
Haven't seen that in a while.
So you didn't play on Saturday, did you?
No.
After playing late Friday?
Eric's going to raise here to 30. I really try to stay away.
Take one day off and then play. Oh, I know you
No,
don't
I mean,
play,
I'll
you don't
play
come here.
online at night on Sundays and some tournaments. But
Right. Sunday's kind of online tournament night for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Eric makes it 30, and Peter calls with pocket 7s. Queen 8 deuce here on the flop with a couple clubs.
And Eric's going to continue. He's going to bet $50. Only slightly scared of the jet queen out there. And I don't think Peter's going to get involved. Let's see. Oh. Shows in the 7s and throws it away.
Yep. I also saw L.A. Confidential, which I haven't seen in many. You know, it's funny, when you watch these movies, when I watch movies that take place in L.A., and I've only seen them when I didn't live here.
Before you moved
it's
here, yeah.
different, like a Big Lebowski or
Yeah,
like
it's-
Sunset Boulevard or L.A. Confidential.
It's very cool.
I actually saw Wonderland too over the weekend.
Oh,
I think kind of
really?
an HBO thing was going on about all these LA movies. So Wonderland was about John Holmes
Yeah.
and the Wonderland murders.
It's amazing, actually, when you see, if you come to LA and you live here for any extended time at all, you notice that probably 80% of the movies that you see out there, you notice the locations. You go, oh, I know that building, or I know that street.
It's just a piece of paper. I replace it with the next card, and we just go from there.
Looks like we get a box card in
Yeah,
here.
that's exactly what she's describing here.
One of the interesting things about LA Confidential is that when one of the detectives went into, was it Rita Hayward, the movie star,
Right.
that the whores were cut up to look like. He actually saw Rita Hayward and mistaken her for a whore. Was in the Formosa. Rita
Hayworth.
was in the Formosa Cafe, and that place hasn't changed for 60 years.
No, I love the Formosa.
Yeah. Got a raise
Actually,
here by
Melissa and I
C3.
used to go to Formosa Cafe there and Jones
Yeah.
across the
Jones, too.
street.
Right.
regularly
Yeah.
when we were working down in Hollywood area.
I mean, the setting looked exactly like it is when you go in there
Oh,
now.
it hasn't changed at all.
Yeah. So raise with ace-king here by C3.
I didn't want to jump on you there and correct you. I'm not here for that. I just let you roll with it, man. No, that way if anybody emails and goes, hey, it's Rita Hayworth, you go, that's what I said. You just can't hear, okay, buddy?
Jack 8-3 here with a couple diamonds.
Eric open-ended.
Got shot to the 9.
Yeah, Todd's got
got shot to the 9, and Eric is open-ended. And David's going to make a continuation bet here.
Well, he's got the best hand right now. He also has the ace of diamonds.
Bet's 30.
Now, the power of the ace of diamonds is such that if you're in a deep stack no-limit game, the power is not necessarily that you're going to hit your flush, but you know somebody else is not drawing to the nuts.
Right.
You know that. So even if a diamond were to come off and you're playing against a tight player, you can really put him to the test even with a smaller flush.
Both players call. The turn is a queen, and 9-10 gets there. And Todd's got top pair now.
Yeah, Todd's got top pair with a gut shot. David has a gut shot now.
And Eric's just going to bet right in here. He's going to bet 135.
Hey, he's going to hope that board hits somebody. I like the bet.
And, you know, I really like the bet because say the river came out a third diamond. Say David took a card there on the turn. You know, Eric could actually get killed by a 10, but say it comes out the deuce of diamonds, and then it goes check, check all the way around.
Well, especially when Todd checked to him.
Yeah.
I mean, if Todd had bet there, you might play it a little different, but Todd bet into you. There's 3 players involved there. It's very easy for one of these guys to have diamonds.
He's going to bet 135. This is an easy laydown for David.
Is it an easy laydown for Todd with Queen 10 here?
Boy, there's really not a whole lot that you can beat now.
No, I mean, not except the bluff, really, right?
Well, it looks like, you know, it might be one of these situations. It looks like he only might have about $50 left here, Dave. And he made the call on the flop, and he's already committed a ton.
And now he's correctly said, he goes, did you hit your straight?
Good answer, good answer.
And he is drawing to a chop, right? If a 9 comes,
Yes.
that's it. There's no way he can win that hand
Tell him
outright.
what you have. They'll tell you what you do.
There's nothing that can help him except a 9 to chop it.
That's why you see, obviously, Eric has 93% chance of winning the hand, and there's a 7% chance that a 9 will come off, and they will chop it off.
Yep. Takes it down.
And the river was a 9. Look at that. River would have been a 9 of clubs.
You know, one of the interesting things about LA Confidential versus Sunset Boulevard, they took place around the same time. But of course, Sunset Boulevard was actually filmed at that time.
Right.
You know, LA Confidential is kind of a mock.
I like that. Did you like LA Confidential? Oh, yeah. I really liked it a lot.
It should have won the Best Picture that year, but Titanic won because it was that year of, Titanic.
Yeah, that garbage movie?
Well, I don't think Titanic was a garbage movie, but I think LA Confidential was better.
Really? I mean, Titanic was a nice movie to, like, take your girlfriend to or your wife to or something. And it was a good amount of fluff, but come on. Really? I mean, you really liked the movie? Compared to LA Confidential?
No, I don't think it was as good as LA Confidential.
Man.
But like I said, the point is always interesting to see Sunset Boulevard with the old, reality
I love that
LA.
stuff. Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah.
It's actually my favorite part of King Kong. I was thinking just in terms of old New York.
Yeah.
I love the beginning part of King Kong where you saw old New York.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
Limp here.
Have you ever seen Mulholland Drive?
Yes, I have.
That was kind of cool, huh? Same thing, kind of seeing L.A.
That was with Nick Nolte, right? Wasn't he in there?
No, Mulholland Drive is it was a new movie with actually the same girl from King Kong.
Oh, I was confusing that with Mulholland Falls.
What's her name?
Button's going to raise here, Queen Jack.
Mulholland Drive was kind of a weird movie.
Oh, you mean it was a David Lynch movie,
exactly.
Right? Yeah, of course I've seen that. It's crazy.
Yeah,
movie.
very confusing, but I thought it was really well done. I liked it a lot.
So a raise here on the button. Supposedly, if you watch the movie 10 times, you can make sense of it the 10th time, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. Fernando calls kind of like Lost Highway. And Peter is going to call as well here with Ace-3 of diamonds.
Naomi Watts. But she's a babe. I mean, I don't care. I can watch that movie 10 times.
A raise by Queen Jack, a call by Fernando, and Peter C is called here with Ace-3 of diamonds.
Talk me out of it.
And I don't think JR is going to come in here with 7-9. Well, He-Man, I mean, a couple of those guys have aces. You wonder if it goes miss, if he can bet them out of the pot. Three-way action here, about $150 pot.
Well,
that's a perfect card to use here because neither player would call. King, 3-4.
Well, the power position, let's see if he uses it.
Nope, checked around. Turns a 5.
No, Peter's got the best hand here.
It
with
still might
Ace-3.
get checked to him here, Dave.
Yeah, but at this point, you can't really represent much. If you bet now, would Peter call you? Well, Peter's going to bet it.
He's going to bet now. Kind of a sloppy bet.
What does that mean? Is that a tell?
Yeah, well, usually that means that you're not really that comfortable putting money in there.
Now, I've heard some things where if it's a sloppy bet, it doesn't mean as much, but if you try to fix the bet, it means something.
That you're trying to bluff if you're fixing
it?
it?
Yeah, you're fixing it. You're scared that it's going to be seen that it's a bluff. So you're fixing your bet. And I imagine this is going to... Yes, Fernando's going to lay this down here. He's got Ace-8. He's cutting out... Wow, he's calling.
Wow. He called?
Wow. Apparently he called here. And he needs an 8 to win the pot, and only an 8.
Well, the river's a king. That's no good.
No, and he's just going to check it.
This is probably going to get checked. Well, unless Peter thinks he needs to bet to win here.
Well, you put your opponent on like Ace-5 or something, or any 5.
Yeah.
Or pocket 7s, maybe? I mean, you almost have to think. There's no, I mean, unless he called you at like a 6.
Right.
You probably feel like you have to bet this, don't you, with Ace-3?
Looks like he's just going to check it down, though. And that's the winner, Ace-3.
Yeah.
Kings and trays.
And there it is.
And it's really the same in any level of poker, but especially in this lower level where if you think you have the best hand, raise it or bet it. If you don't think you have the best hand, just get out. Calling is rarely the best play.
Did you see Laurel Canyon?
Hey, Gerwin.
Laurel Canyon?
Yeah.
I've never seen Laurel Canyon.
No?
No.
It's okay. Another one of
Who
those
was in
LA
that?
set type movies. Yeah, Francis McDermott was in it.
Oh, look. Okay. Laurel Canyon. Okay, I haven't seen that.
That's okay. A lot of it took place in Chateau Marmont. Right?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Button's going to move over here to seat 6.
I'm actually kind of psyched. I just bought.
Gonna take a
I was
look at
saying-
another chip count.
There we go. Almost 3,000 on the table now. Peter's got the most money, up to $700. Todd with the least, 140. Let's see how they're doing. Poof. Richard in the lead, up over $200. Peter C. up 150. Todd is bringing up the rear. He's down $360 tonight.
Again, you can email us as always at live@thebike.com.
We love to keep the show interactive. Really appreciate it. Seat number 9, Todd, is going to make it $15. Under the gun, kind of a little pot sweetener. You might even think this is kind of a stop raise, where he's kind of naming his price to see the flop. He's got Jack 8 of clubs in first position, and nobody's calling him until it gets to the blinds. Let's see what the blinds do. And they might just take this down. It's on me.
By the way, the rest of you are invited too.
For a raise?
And I think he's just going to take this down. Wow.
It's okay. You tried
A
your
raise out of the first spot with Jack 8 of clubs, and nobody calls him.
Everybody's folded.
I mean, Peter's got Queen 3.
Yeah, you really want to take that heads up out of position. Now you don't.
Diesel.
Throw it away.
You know, again, it's funny. I said that there were 3 people that had the correct final 4. You wonder if anyone out of that 2.8 million has George Mason winning. Because of those 3 people, none of them have George Mason going in the finals. Because I looked at their
I mean,
grids.
some crazy George Mason fan might have had him winning, but they
Right.
probably screwed everything else
Yeah.
up.
Well, the other thing too is that can you even get odds on those types of teams to win? Or the odds probably aren't enough where it's actually not a good bet because they probably cap the odds at something like 200-1, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's 500 to 1 at the beginning of it. You know?
The world's gonna have my fingerprint.
I know there are certain games you can't. It's very difficult to get like Albany versus UConn.
You can't get a money line if the point
Yeah.
spread's over a certain amount.
Exactly.
But that's actually like in football too. A lot of places won't give you a money line if the point spread for that week is over a touchdown.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. NFL, you're talking, or
Yeah.
college?
No, NFL. Peter is raised here with Pocket Kings.
No real one. Wow. For a second, I thought it was Pocket Aces in seat 9, but it's actually Ace Deuce.
Deuce, yep.
Significantly different.
I'm gonna call.
Well, 7-5 of clubs is going to call here.
Now, I don't mind calling this if I'm on the button and I'm deep and my opponent's deep, but I don't really want to call out of position.
And is that going to bring Todd in here with Ace Deuce? He makes the call.
Well,
Now we get a $60 pot going 3 ways here. Here we go. Wow, what a flop for 5-7. He's got a gut shot and clubs.
yeah, it's a pretty good flop for him. I mean, if you're going to play the hand, why not bet right into it, huh? Hope your opponent has Ace-King, bet him off it.
Gets checked over here to Peter, and he's going to bet.
Problem is, I don't think Peter's got that much money.
He's going to bet 45 here. Well, we've got 2 Peters, and Peter C is just going to call. You wonder if he check raised there, how the other Peter would play it with 2 red kings.
Now, this is the kind of hand, you don't really want a club, you really want a 6. You want like a red 6.
I don't know how much more money Peter and seat 1 are going to put in the hand. Well, now he's filled up. So let's see if he bets him into the draw like we always preach here, Dave. We always talk about you leave a lot of money on the table when you check your made hands in position on the turn.
Exactly. You don't want to scare him out here. Well, look at this. He's going to bet it.
Well, if he bets,
then it's a no-brainer. Then you just move in. I don't think he has more than 130 enough anyway.
120.
well, let's see. How much does Peter have left?
20.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way to finagle it. He's just going to move in, I'm sure.
Well, I think maybe he's got 140. So
Right.
It's a no-brainer, obviously. You move in for your last 140. And you
Now,
go,
Peter
okay.
C is not drawing dead. He could actually catch the 6 of clubs. He's got 1 out.
That would be such a bad beat.
I think
It wouldn't even be the bad beat jackpot.
Yeah, Peter in seat 1 here is going to move in.
Also living adjustment.
So how much more is it? Yeah, it's $10 more. Well, Peter C needs 1 out here. The 6 of clubs. No, it's a club.
Wow, and he makes a club, but that's no good. Makes a flush.
Yeah.
You know what happened? You know what happened?
You wonder sometimes if Peter C realizes that he does not have a winner.
Yeah. Oftentimes the problem with going for your draws when you have a paired board out there, obviously,
I was 2 ways.
the king of clubs would have not been good as well.
I have ace-8. Lucky I didn't play.
But again, we talk about, sometimes a lot of people will check that turn when you're deep with kings. And, a player will always say to me, yeah, why do I need to bet the turn? I need to let the guy catch up. And I always say, well, how much money do you think the guy is going to lose, especially if he's a good player with a paired board, when you bet into him if he makes the flush and get raised?
Oh, well, of course.
You know what I mean?
You've also got to look at it as if he doesn't make the flush,
Right.
and he checks to you, now you bet he just throws his hand away. You only
Right.
get a little bit of money on the turn, on the,
Right.
on the river. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I just picked up, actually?
What's
I
that?
picked up the Cincinnati Kid on DVD. Have you seen that?
No, actually I did like
Steve McQueen?
long time ago.
Classic. I'm really kind of looking forward to seeing it again. I haven't seen it in a while, and I haven't seen it on DVD ever.
That was a nine hand.
Just like that, Peter doubles up.
Yep.
Feel free to check out our website, liveatthebike.com. Got a bunch of new features over there.
Came in with 5.
Limped around 5 ways. Jack 8-3 with a couple of diamonds.
Nice hand. Nine hand. You said nine hand.
I believe the best hand is actually tied with Ace-3.
Check to me.
Yeah, it looks like that way.
Yeah, checks.
Gets checked around to the button here. He checks with pocket deuces. Turns a 9.
Well, Peter's now got a
Flush draw.
but Todd is still in the lead with Ace-3.
And now Fernando is going to come out and bet again as a total bluff. That's 20. I don't necessarily know about these types of bets at this level, Dave, with like 5 people in the hand. Because, I mean, it
Really? In the
gonna,
cutoff seat? I mean, he's won before the button. It's been checked to him twice.
Yeah, but are you really going to get everybody out of there at
It's
this
worked
level?
once. I mean, well,
Well,
I mean,
Peter's
it
going to call.
didn't work this time.
Peter's got a flush draw.
But Peter's actually behind.
Yeah. Well, the river's a 6. They both make a pair. Now, will the kicker play here?
No, it will not. Both players have a pair of 6s with Jack 9-8.
And it got checked to Fernando, and he moved all in there, Dave. He moved all in with 5-6. He obviously thought
Wow.
his hand was not good.
Takes it down.
And Peter folded. Yeah, and I guess that would have been chopped up there, wouldn't
Yeah.
it? Yep. Pair of 6s with a Jack 8-9 kicker. They would have chopped it up if they saw it at showdown.
I'm not a big fan of putting money in the pot when I have no chance of winning, but if I'm in the cutoff seat or the button, and it's been checked to me twice, I'm going to assume that nobody has anything.
I couldn't call
And
you
I'll
with
put some
my
money in the
six
pot.
side.
I'll remember that next time.
Hey, I have no problem. You want to check to me twice and give me 2 chances at a card? At my gut shot or my miracle card?
Check call against Tupkin. Mental note.
Well, it's not check call. It's check once, then I check behind you.
Check.
Check. Right. You got to check twice to me. Give me 2 free cards, and then I'll fire at it. Okay? I have no problem with that.
Limped around here. It's like 5 ways.
I mean, I'll come out and say that right out. I have no problem. If it's checked to me twice, and I'm on the button, I will almost always bet that. Why not take a shot at it?
Jack 4-7 here, rainbow. Well, as an astute no-limit player would probably realize that if you had any piece of the flop in a nonsensical turn card game and you bet, it can pretty easily put you on a steal. The turn is a 6.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Peter's got the best hand here with a pair of 6s. And Eric is going to bet $5 with a pair of 4s. JR here has got a gut shot to the 5 with an overcard. He makes the call. C8 calls. He's got an open-ended straight draw with an overcard. And look at this. Peter, he senses the weakness. He's going to check raise. You know, sometimes we talk about on the turn, bet weak and 2 calls. There's a lot of dead money in there that's not going to be able to take a
You
check.
figure nobody's really strong there.
Yeah.
And they're pretty right here. Nobody is real strong.
Yeah. Well, Peter's open-ended, so he's going to make the call. And let's see how this one's going to play out.
Peter's got the best hand, though. He doesn't mind. I mean, Peter in seat 1.
Yeah. Well, the river's a 6, and
Trip
now
6s.
Peter in seat 1's got trip 6s.
For a little value bet in there, obviously not going to get called here.
You wonder when Peter he said, I have to call. Could you ever put him on a 5 there and finagle it where you might actually check the river to induce a bluff?
You could. You definitely could, especially if you know the player will bluff. You know what I mean? I might check that to St. Mike.
Yeah.
Somebody like that. Corporation Mike was talking about a real aggressive, laggy player.
I need to see the menu on the Korean thing. It's Korean, the Korean ribs, that gold. No, not the Calbee, the other one.
Button moves over to seat 1. I mean, one of the things that's interesting, obviously, we always kind of berate Barry Woods for making this play. When he raised pre-flop on the button,
It was the best.
everybody checks to him, he checks. Then the turn comes out a blank, everybody checks to him, and now he tries to steal it. And you're going, come on, what would you check the flop with?
Right.
The
Because
problem
you're
is,
really going to bet with any semi-bluff draw. And
of course,
such.
the problem is, though, is oftentimes people can say, I know you're stealing, I know you've got nothing, but they don't have the balls to actually go through with it and execute a raise because they realize, what if this is the one time where you really flopped a monster? And do I really want to commit a lot of chips just to try to catch Tuckman in a steal or catch Barry Woods in a steal? I mean, how many times do we actually hear somebody saying, I know you're stealing, as their cards hit the muck? Get a raise here out of seat number 4. He's got kings, and seat 7 calls this. JR the Crusher raises it up with pocket kings, and Fernando's going to call with a suited ace. Seat number 3 is David with a nice suited connector. He's got 9-10 suited. He's not going to play, and this pot is quickly $100. Heads up. Kings versus ace 5.
Here we go.
Ugh.
Oh, look at this. How about top full house here for JR? He flops at kings full of queens.
I look at him. He's like, what do I do with this one?
He checked it.
And he takes a free card.
Turns a deuce. It's the third heart.
This is getting uglier and uglier. Fernando's really not going to lose much money in this one.
Now JR's going to bet a little bit.
Well, he's kind of playing it like he's got pocket jacks or pocket 10s.
He bets 50 here.
Raise.
And look at that. And Fernando, he thinks he's trying to sense out some weakness. He's going to raise it up to 125 here.
Nice play there by JR. He's induced this bluff.
Now, the thing here with these stack sizes, if I'm JR, I figure this guy's so committed. If he's got a flush or anything, I just might as well move in here. But we can see Fernando's got absolutely nothing.
Yeah, but, I mean, at this point, you don't know that. I
Right.
think it's an easy time to put him on a queen or put him on hearts, and you move in and you get a call. He doesn't have much money left.
Right, because if you actually just call here and for some reason a fourth heart comes out, it might actually get him to muck something else.
He might muck a queen.
Yeah.
And he's trying to think. He's out of position, so it always makes it a little tougher.
You got left?
He's asking him how much he has left.
75 or something?
Got about 75 left here.
And I think he's going to do a little mini raise here. And the problem is, does Fernando think that he's... I mean, obviously he's not pot committed, but does he think, oh, I've got to call this. I've got an ace. I've got too much money in the pot not to call. And obviously he's drawing dead.
Yeah, it's going to move all in here, Dave. And this might be the one case here where Fernando was just on a steal. He can't even call here with ace-5.
Yeah. And I don't mind the play by JR at all. I actually like the play that she checked one time, kind of let his opponent think that he was weak. Fernando tried to make a move, and now you move in, hoping your opponent has a queen or hoping that he's hearts.
Nah, he's not going to call here.
And when he throws that away, you kind of know that he has absolutely nothing.
Right.
Come on. Watch it tonight.
And JR made as much money as he was possibly going to make in that hand.
And I think he showed the full house there.
I started not to raise them, just let you bet. Thought you was committed already.
Button moves over to seat 2. Small blind is $3. That's David. Big blind is JR. Gentleman's stacking his chips right now. And He-Man in seat 5 will be under the gun.
Yep.
And we are live at the Bike Folks. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen. You can catch us every Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 p.m.
You'll be fine.
Pocket 10s here for seat 6. That's Richard. Richard's a guy, I've actually played a lot with him in 2040 limit holding before being seat 6.
And what do you think of his play in limit holding?
Pretty good player.
Pretty solid
One of the
across the
better
board.
ones, yeah. Get a raise here to 20 by Richard with the pocket 10s.
I need a jack for a straight flush right here.
So we're going to see a couple of callers here. And then I'm going to get to some emails here, Dave, in a second.
Got a whole bunch of new ones, huh?
Yeah, new emails I haven't gotten to yet.
Well, I'm going to take a shot at it.
And look at this. David's going to call with King 3 of clubs here. One, two, three, 4 people in there. It's an $80 pot already. 4-way action. Here we go. Richard, the pre-flop raiser. What a bad flop for pocket 10s here. Queen, Jack, 8. He's got a gut shot to the 9. he actually has the best hand here. But it's really not a great flop with, say, 4 people in the hand.
No, not at all. I mean, you've got to think you're probably behind here, but hey, you've got to draw.
He's going to bet 40.
And I reserve the right to play
And
next
this is
time.
probably going to do it here. Email here from Thomas Ellison. David actually just responded to you, so there you go. David McQueen says that there's a great episode of High Stakes Poker tonight regarding Phil Locke and Jennifer.
Wait, Phil Locke or Phil Hellmuth?
Oh, Phil Hellmuth and Jennifer Harmon. Chris Mastellone says that he used to deal craps to Phil Mickelson. He's a nice guy, but likes to fire it up pretty good and bet sports pretty high.
Well, hey, the guy's only making like what, $9 million a year.
Yep.
Actually, that's probably $9 million a year just from golf.
Yep.
Probably another $15 million from endorsements.
Email here from Fish on a Mission. I did notice that Raymer finished second in the $1,000 Poker Stars tournament on Sunday.
Oh, wow.
Yesterday. He actually had about a 3-1 chip lead against the guy heads up, and he lost.
Took home $185,000.
Yeah. Again, another email from David Stanfield regarding that as well.
I only drop one, I should drop more.
Limped around here.
I can always do that after the flop.
Dave, you can show money on television, real cash. I think that law went out the window like 25 years ago.
I didn't know there was any outlaw. I mean,
I think there used to be.
really?
Yeah, we had an
Can't show
email from a
money?
guy saying that we showed cash. We're going to get sued. I don't know. Got a $45 raise here by He-Man with pocket sevens. I mean, at the World Series, that's all real cash they dump out on the table in the WPT, right? Of course, yeah. I don't think anybody's going to play here. And He-Man's going to take it down. An email here from Bob W. saying that he played No Limit Hold'em at Harvey's in Tahoe yesterday, or
Oh,
Saturday.
Tahoe, man.
Learned a lot from you guys that helped me win. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, he said here one thing that is, he said the guy who wins the most pots does not necessarily win the most money. He was saying that the guy who won the most pots was actually a calling station, but he actually lost the most money.
Yeah.
There you go. Glad we could help. And I'm so jealous that he's in Tahoe. Heavenly. Oh, man. I'd love to go snowboarding one more time before the season's out.
Email here from Bernie McIntyre regarding that hand. If anybody's got access to the archives, again, you can click on the on-demand banner in the upper left-hand corner of your screen at liveatthebike.com. Get you access to every show we have ever done. You can check out last Wednesday's show.
Yeah, huge one. We had the Grinder on. We had Kenna James on.
Yep.
And they were battling it with some local pros and some local businessmen.
Yep.
Really a great show.
Little raise here by Peter with Jack 9 of diamonds. David has called him with Ace 10 of diamonds. JR's in there with Queen Jack. And there was quite a hand between the Grinder and Barry Woods.
Yeah, about a $20,000 pot, huh?
Four-way action here. It's an $80 pot. Peter, the pre-flop raiser. Well, if Peter stabbed at it here with an ace, you'd take it down because nobody has an ace. Actually, David does. Gets checked to David, and he's going to bet 45 here.
That's pretty straightforward here. I mean, there's no draw for anybody else.
Yep.
It's a rainbow board. I mean, if you get called with ace 10, you got to hate your hand here.
Oh, I do. Let me see.
And David's going to take it down.
It's the ace flush draw.
Again, you can email us at liveatthebike.com.
And if you send us any emails, any questions that are kind of specific hand strategy questions,
Right.
and they're long, obviously we can't get to them during the show and keep up with the action, with the play. But we will get to them later on, and we actually have a new feature called the Inside Straight. And if you subscribe to the archives, you can actually check out the archives.
Yep.
We kind of, Bart and myself and a couple of the local pros will do like a poker roundtable and ask everybody's opinion on that question.
Right.
So send in those questions. They're great. And if you want to check out our last episode of the Inside Straight, go to the archives. I think it's under March 2006, right?
Glad I got away from that because I had diamonds.
And again, if you email us outside of the times, we'll try to get back to you. We might write back to you, but maybe try to email us within the times of the show. Sometimes people, read the email us during the replay stage, but don't realize that it's not live. We do the best that we can there, but if sometime we don't respond, hey, email us during the times of the show. We get a raise here by seat 4. JR's brought it in with 9-10 of clubs here. Because we have an interesting email from Michael Christopeak, which was over the weekend here, Dave.
Yeah.
And he said, regarding that hand between Barry and the grinder, he says, you guys hated the $4,000 river bet. And he says, watching the show on replay, I agree with you, but not watching the replay, I think Barry might have thought Grinder revealed his own hand of Queen Jack, the one that he thought Barry had.
Come on in.
Hey, it's an interesting point because when I was talking to Barry about it, I said, when you bet the 4,000 on the river, I go, do you think there was any hand that is worse than yours that would have paid you off?
Right.
And I guess if you think the guy has Queen Jack, specifically Queen Jack, that is a hand that might have paid you off.
Right.
It's an interesting email. Thanks a lot for it. I'll still stick to my guns, though. I still think that the play was either a small bet or no bet.
Right. Not a whole lot of positive expected value as we're talking about in that bet at the end. We get a $20 raise here by seat number 4. Queen 10 off suit here. JR made it 20 to go. Now, David had limped him with ace-jack from up front. That looks to be the best hand. Well, He-Man's got pocket 5s. He made the call.
Yeah, Eric's got 7s.
But I'll only call.
Peter's got king-queen. Got a lot of Broadway out there.
Yeah, Peter calls.
Imagine a flop will probably come out something along the lines of 9-4 deuce.
And the other Peter calls. So it's a $120 pot, Dave, 6 ways. And it was JR that brought this one in with Queen 10.
Here it comes, 9-4 deuce.
So many.
You know, again, I have a lot of respect. I think we both do for Peter in seat 1's game. I'm sure he's not going to get necessarily that involved with an ace. Flop comes out Jack 8-9 here. Well, Peter with King Queen's got a gut shot.
How about JR?
JR flops the straight, and he was the pre-flop raiser. Now, how's David going to play it with ace Jack? Is he going to lead right in here in seat 3? The action's over to seat 3.
I think you need to lead out on this and see where you're at.
It looks like
Too
he is.
scary a board. I don't think you can check and give a free card. You've got to bet and see where you're at.
Now, it is a rainbow board, and it's going to be interesting to see. No, he's going to check it. Now, you figure that JR, this board is almost too connected to check here. I mean, it is too connected. You got to put some money in there, get some value.
And it's one of those times where you're putting money in not necessarily because you're scared. You don't want a card to come up that would kill your action. If a 10 or a queen were to come up, or a 7, you wouldn't get any action from the ace-jack.
Now, let me make a prediction here. If he bets here, JR bets, kind of weak, and Peter C calls over there with the king-queen, I think that David might check raise all in here in seat 3. I thought he was going to bet here. He might check raise all in.
You might get that. You're right.
Well, he's going to bet 80 here,
and look
Dave.
at this. He puts in $80 and says no chasing.
Two-thirds size pot bet. I probably would make the same type of bet in this situation.
And He-Man, obviously, he's got pocket 5. He's going the speed limit.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the table's going about 85 miles
Now,
an hour.
that bet might be a little bit too big for Peter in seat 8 to call. He does have overcards and a gut shot. It is a rainbow board.
Yeah, well, the pot's about 190 now, 75 to
200, 200, yeah.
200, 75 to call. Yeah. It's not a terrible flop for king, queen. I would have rather had, let's say I have king, queen suited and I've got some sort of backdoor flush draw as well. I mean, do you really want one of your overcards? It's just one of those times where, yeah, if you hit your 10, you've got the nuts. But if I catch a queen or a king, do I really like it?
You don't really know, right?
Exactly. I mean, if I catch a king, I could be up against king jack. If I catch a queen, it's a one-liner to a straight. And it's going to fold around all the way to Eric. He's got 7s. He's going to lay it down. And now we get back to the real hand. David's got ace-jack. And what's he going to do with this?
Chicken.
Now, in a bigger game, you can get away from ace-jack. I'm just not sure if David's deep enough to get away from his hands.
Thank you very much.
Wow, he's just going to fold it. Wow. Wow. No lay down.
Well, I guess you put JR on aces or kings.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that.
Guess that's not the type of hand that he wanted to get involved with.
That's amazing.
I gotta watch tonight.
When you had the nuts.
I will be watching too.
And nobody got nothing. I can't believe any action on that flop.
You
Phenomenal.
guys are tight, dude. I knew if I put a low, I should have put 50. He called for 50.
Small blind, big
70
blind
or
here.
less.
Wow. I mean, it was a pretty connected board.
Well, 85 that stuff.
Button's going to move over here to seat 7.
Good bet.
If you have a hand, you're supposed to get paid off by that. You know?
Aces?
He's not gonna tell you the truth. He won't tell you the truth, believe me.
He didn't have a straight.
We'll see, we'll see.
Let it sit.
Why would you bet if I had no straight? There's no flush draw.
And go button is in seat number 7.
No, it was
Seat number 1, Peter limps in. And but Fernando's going to raise on the button here. He's got ace jack offsuit on the button.
Thinking I was the big
He makes it $25 to go. The ace jack.
But you already made the move.
Peter C. We like to call him Diesel here. He's not going to play. Todd peers down. He's got a 5 and a 9. He's not going to play. And it goes around to Peter now, who had limped in under the gun with pocket deuces, and he's not going to call heads up. Gets away from it. Fernando takes down about $13 in money, dead money. Minus the rake, it's $12. There's no jackpot drop when you don't see a flop. Jackpot here, it's a bad beat jackpot. If you lose with aces full of 10s or better to 4 of a kind or better, you will get the bad beat jackpot. Both hole cards have to play. And the way it works out, let's say it's 50% to the loser of the hand, 25% to the winner of the hand, and the table actually shares 25%. I'm not quite sure what the jackpot is right now, but usually it's pretty high. I'm going to take a guess that it's about $20,000. So. Not chump change, that's for sure.
Raise to get 20.
A little raise here from Eric in second position here. Actually, I'm sorry, he's under the gun. He's going to raise it up with King Jack of Hearts. He's going to make it $20 to go. Not a hand I like to raise with an early position. This game is somewhat passive.
Hello.
JR is going to call.
Yeah, this is David. Someone just called me.
He-Man's got ace-10, hand that can be easily dominated, but he's going to call anyway.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Uh-oh. A lot of chasers in there.
And look at that, seat 6 calls with Queen Jack. That's probably going to bring it. Oh, wow, look at this Fernando. He's moving all in with ace-8 of diamonds. He's enough dead money out there. He's going to move in for about $280. Now, the bet was 20, and it was called in 3 spots, so there was about $90 of dead money in there. Fernando had seen enough. He's putting in $280, try to win it all. Now, the only question is, now, Peter's got the only real hand here, and he's actually in the big blind. He hasn't even acted yet. He's got pocket 9s. And what does he do there? Oh, he's rubbing his belly, trying to figure out what to do. He's got a real hand. He's in great shape.
Well, rubbing your belly always seems to work. Kind of channel that energy.
I mean, he doesn't know, obviously, he's in great shape, but he happens to be in great shape here because Fernando's actually made this move with only 1 overcard, and we see there's another ace out. Now, I don't mind the laydown if you look at it and go, well, come on, at best, I'm 50-50. Probably guy's probably got ace-queen or ace-jack or ace-king. And at worst, he's got pocket 10s or jacks or queens, and I'm really dead. Sometimes you got to look at those. Sometimes people make these moves with kind of a weak hand, and Fernando's doing exactly that.
Well, again, these aren't the situations you normally see in a little bigger game. Peter folds there.
No, sometimes you see it in the smaller games where people are just trying to gamble up a little bit.
Well, you know, and rightly so. It's almost like a big semi-bluff because, yeah, you've got ace high, and there's a lot of dead money in there. It puts the pressure on somebody to call.
Well, there's $90 of dead money in there, and he
Right.
figured, hey, you know what, I'm going to put in there and see what happens. And look at this. He's going to take it down not only did he not have the best hand, he had, like, the 4th best hand.
Yeah, he was really drawing slim there.
Yeah. I mean, there was a bigger ace out there,
Yep.
and there was pocket 9s out there, which means he would have to catch, like, 2 8s or diamonds. But moving in, he takes down a pot.
Again, if anyone wants to check out our MySpace page, you can go to you can actually go to www.myspace.com/liveatthebike. Check us out. Button's going to move over here to seat 9. Add us as one of your friends.
Now, our winning green tournament just ended, and we're going to take about, I want to say, 2 weeks off. Our tournament staff's going to take a couple of weeks off. But we've got our Stars and Stripe tournament starting up right away.
Yeah.
It's kind of a smaller buy-ins, a lot of $100, $200, and $300 buy-in tournaments. And that starts April 10th.
Look at this. Peter C's got pocket aces. And Richard's going to bring this one in for a raise here in seat 6 with ace-jack offsuit here, Dave. He makes it 20. Let's see what Peter's going to do. I don't think he's lifted his hand yet.
And he looks like he's going to raise this up. He makes it 45.
So almost like a little mini raise. Now we get a king queen suited over there for Eric.
Now, would you call this $45?
Well, I don't know. Let's
A
see.
raise and a re-raise with king queen
Usually
suited?
not. Usually not. He is going to make the call.
I mean, I just don't know if you're deep enough in this game
Yeah.
to make that call. $45 is an awful lot of money to commit in this game pre-flop.
Three flat.
I mean, you're talking about putting about 20% of your stack in there.
Right. So here we go. Three-way action. 5 deuce 5.
Nice flop for aces.
Yeah, I don't necessarily put somebody on a 5 there.
Yeah, if somebody's got a 5 here, God bless them. They're
Get
getting
a
my money.
raise and a re-raise pot, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, it's funny, we're saying it's a good flop for aces. It's actually not a great flop. A better flop for aces would have been like king high or jack high.
And he's going to move all in here, Dave. Aces moves all in.
And it's a pretty easy play for Richard and Eric.
Yeah.
Neither player has a pair or a draw. Now, are you looking at our MySpace account there?
Yeah, I'm
Or
looking
is that
at
yours.
This is mine, and then it's kind of in conjunction with ours, because now I am a friend of Live with the Bike, so some people contact me as well.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah. You can actually check me out if you want to add me to your MySpace list, because I'm over at livewiththebike.com.
How many friends did you say we have now?
I think somewhere around 50.
Wow. I've never had that many friends.
Button's going to move over here to seat 9.
I try to keep my friends down to about a dozen. Anything more than that, I just find unmanageable.
I'll check out MySpace someday.
You can also Skype us.
Yes.
Skype us.
Skype.com, check it out.
Leave us a voice message.
Button's going to move over to seat 1. King 9 suited here.
Raise, you get
We're going to see a little raise here from Todd.
He's in late position. He buys himself the button here. Eric's going to call with a hand that's dominant. He's calling with 10-9. And is JR going to get involved? JR's got queen 3 offsuit. I don't think he's going to call. No, he's not. And is He-Man going to get involved? He's got ace 9. He's actually got the best hand. He's in great shape. Hard for him to know that, though. The odds are all these players will miss the flop. You only see 1-9 left.
Three-way action here. Ace 9, King 9, and 9-10. Well, like
no
you
surprise.
said, everybody misses here. Jack 5-4 with a couple diamonds.
And let's see if Todd follows through, I'll probably win this pot.
Got some flavor, huh?
He's counting out a little bet, and he's going to put about a $35 bet in there.
Continuation bet.
And is Eric going to make a move here? He's got 9-10. He's counting out his chips. He still has chips.
Yeah, Eric's got a 9-10 offsuit here. Actually, he folded.
Oh, he did. He's just
Yeah,
counting
he
out for
missed
it. Okay.
And King 9 there is going to take it down.
I thought he was going to make a move there. So anyway, I was going to say, obviously, our tournaments, the Stars and Stripes tournament schedule, you can go to thebike.com and check it out, or go to livebike.com and check out the schedule and check it out. The first one is Monday, April 10th. They all start at 4:15 p.m. And the first one is actually a $100 buy-in tournament. No limit hold'em with a $25,000 guarantee.
You know, I was saying that earlier, they had that $1,000 no limit hold'em tournament on Stars.
Yeah.
And Raymer, Fossil Man, made it to the end, almost won the thing. Boy, that guy's got a real knack for those big field tournaments, doesn't he? It's incredible.
He's obviously not, he's not a fluke. He obviously knows how to play poker. Really knows how to play tournament poker. And I imagine he'll be a force in the world of poker as long as he's playing.
Yeah. Just seems like the bigger the field, the deeper he gets.
Yeah,
I
mean, how many people win that $1,000?
1,500.
1,500. He
Yeah.
gets the second place. I mean, that's phenomenal.
Got a little raise here by seat number 9. He makes it
Raise, make it 16.
15 to go with King Jack offsuit. And Peter's going to re-raise here, Dave, and he has the best hand. He's going to re-raise with Ace Queen. He's got the best hand.
My friend, you're trying to push us out.
You know the funny thing about MySpace, because I think you're looking at it, and I want to throw this out at anybody.
Oh, you
I'll
have
get to
39
this.
friends?
I'll get to this after this hand.
That's pretty cool.
JR's going to fold.
I go bye-bye.
Pocket 3s for seat number 8. Diesel there, Peter.
Yeah. He was the one that brought it in for... Actually, he did not bring it in for a raise.
Yes.
Seat 9 was the one that brought it in for a raise.
Yes.
I'm going to continue calling Peter C. Diesel. His nickname. And only because I don't really like going by nicknames, but there are 2 Peters, and I find it confusing.
He folds. And it's over to Todd here with King Jack.
What an amazing coincidence. I just came up with that.
Yeah. And Todd folds. And Peter is going to take it down there with the ace-queen. The thing about MySpace is I find these girls, and these must be really, really lonely girls, okay? They'll put a picture up, because you were looking at this one here. You're pointing at it.
Miss Rebecca Love?
Yeah, this chick, if you look at that picture, that's a picture out of a magazine. I've watched that profile now for a couple weeks.
That's not that girl.
It's not that girl. She rotates her pictures of, and the reason why I found this out was because one said Carmen Electra on the bottom, and she gets all these guys, like these buff guys, to, all cut up and with their shirts off to be her friends and say, "Ooh, you're so cute, you're so cute." So I email her back and was like, "This isn't even you." You know what I mean?
How do you even
must
know
be
it?
pretty lonely here.
How do you even know it's a girl?
You don't. You don't even know if it's a girl. But I've seen that kind of thing before.
The buff guys that are emailing her back, though. How do you even know those are guys?
Well, but the point I'm thinking is that, you've got some people that seem a little bit lonely out there.
It's a lonely world out there, man.
Limped around here.
Yeah, I tell you. I am so lucky to have found somebody that I'm not old, not lonely.
Supposedly there's like a little forum on 2+2 over in the other topics forum or other topics thread about how to get girls on MySpace over on 2+2.
Really?
Yeah. Get a little raise here by I believe it was by seat number 4, JR, and he flopped the flush draw.
He's got an overcard with the flush draw. The best hand is actually Fernando with a queen 9. He's got second pair. Nobody else has much of anything. Todd's got second pair with the 7 kicker. Richard's got bottom pair with the ace kicker. And Fernando's actually going to bet with the 9. And let's see what JR does here with the flush draw. He's just going to call.
He makes the call.
Oftentimes I'll raise there, and then I have the option, if I think my opponent's weak, I can take the pot away from them. Or if I think they're pretty strong, I can take the free card on the turn.
Right. And we're heads up here.
And this is one of those times where if you raise this, Fernando might go away with just second pair. King on the turn, king of clubs. Changes nothing. And JR's going to check it. I'm sorry, Fernando's going to check it. And if you're JR, do you try to take this one away right here?
Well, he's going to bet again, but it doesn't look like that much. He gets 40. And I don't know if that's going to necessarily do it.
Now, this is one of those boards that it's kind of tough. Does your opponent have jack? Or does he have, say, queen 10 or 10-8 or hearts?
Well, remember, JR was the pre-flop raiser here, Dave, so,
Right, so I was saying, does he have ace-queen of hearts? Or does he have ace-king hearts? Or does he have a jack?
I mean, unless he brought it in with a garbage hand, with that king coming, there's almost nothing you can beat here, with the exception of ace-queen or ace-10.
Right. I mean, you're looking at hearts, I'm saying.
And he folds. And actually, I don't mind the bet there by JR. A lot of people say, well, why doesn't he just take a free card? Well, it's a great semi-bluff card. Why not use that scare card? If the guy's lingering around, even with, say, 10-jack. There wasn't a 10 up there, right?
No.
Yeah, 10-jack or, say, king or...
well, 10-jack would have been a straight.
Okay, ace-jack,
yeah,
something like that.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where oftentimes players will sandbag.
Right.
Let's say he had jack 10. Well, you'll find out really quick. But oftentimes, the player was betting his jack. The king came and kind of scared him. Why not take advantage of that card? Use it. More often than not, when somebody checks to you, it's because they don't like the flop.
Here, let's take a look at another chip count here.
Got over still the lead there. Right?
Over $3,000 on the table. Peter C. in the lead in seat 8. Let's take a look at some of the differences now. So JR's up $300.
That's not bad for this game. I remember you're only buying in for $200 here.
Yep.
Todd down $465. I mean, that's a pretty hefty loss for a game where you're only buying in for $200.
$15 raise here out of seat 2. Pocket 5s. King, queen offsuit here by seat 4. Now, with such a, we talk about hands that you don't call raises with, but when someone throws in what sometimes you call like a little stop raise, do you open up your hand calling a little bit more? Say in the 5-10 game, when someone's raising a 25 or 30.
Yeah, depending on the table, of course, depending on who's at the table, and do I think there's a lot of implied odds with the hand I have.
Well, Eric's good here with fives. 10-7-3 with a couple diamonds. It looks like he's going to bet the pot here. Well, he's going to bet 25. Wow, and JR calls. Quick.
Just overcards. He does not have a diamond in his hand.
Well, there's an overcard. It's queen. I mean, a call like that, you sometimes put a guy on a diamond draw. Quick call,
Yeah, definitely. And he just called it overcards. Now, if the queen of diamonds were to come out, I mean, how do you even know if you're good?
Well, Eric checks it, and now JR is going to bet.
Now, the only thing you wonder is, now, JR, if he had hit the turn or not, might he have bet that? I mean, let's say it comes out of blank, would he have bet anyway? The way we've seen JR play, he might have bluffed that out no matter what. Now, if you're calling just for the overcards, I don't think you can. It's not a good call. But if you're calling, you could possibly just take it away in the turn no matter what hits.
Hey, there's a classic example of how it's really difficult to raise a small pocket pair. I mean, he was in mid to late position, seat 2 was, Dave, but if you get called in a couple spots and you make that continuation bet and you get called and you're out of position, boy, you've got no idea where you're at. Yeah.
In that case, you put your opponent on either like an open-ended straight draw, you put him on diamonds maybe,
yeah,
or maybe he's a 10. Who the heck knows?
Again, you can email us at liveatthebike.com. Questions, comments, suggestions, as always. We appreciate it. Got an email here from Keith Bayer I'm going to get to in a second. Limped around here 6 ways. 10-8-5 with a couple of diamonds.
Check.
Well, David's got king 4 diamonds there in C3. He's got the second nut flush draw.
Check out.
15.
Nobody's at a 10 here.
Draws coming for sure. 15
You can say that David's actually got 12 outs to the winner here. Any king would do it once Eric folds.
Thought I had a straight.
Okay, I'll give you a courtesy.
All right, keep on.
That's not good.
Oh, we're heads up here. The turn is a 6.
And now, once again, still David needs a king or a diamond.
Yep.
Well, just
And actually, a 7 would do it as well now.
30.
He's picked up a gut shot.
Well, JR's going to bet 30 now with queen 8, and David is just going to call. Again, that hand could be big enough to make a move, and the river's a 7. He makes it.
Now, there is a one-liner to a straight. Anybody with a 9 would have a higher straight than him.
Right, he can't even bet this hand aggressively, but he's actually going to come out and bet now.
35.
Bets 35.
Yeah, he doesn't put his opponent on a 9. He's going to throw a little money in there.
That's a good bet.
Not much you can beat there.
$35 bet. Would David have made this bet if say diamonds missed, if it was a deuce?
You wonder.
But it's a good card to represent, even if he doesn't have a 4 or 9 here, if he's on missed diamonds,
Definitely,
right?
it's a great play.
I mean, does JR now have to call here? I mean, it's a $35 bet into about a $120 pot.
I mean, if David had, say, king, queen, and diamonds,
Yeah.
why not represent the 7 of clubs, backdoor clubs? It's a one-liner. Anybody the 4 or 9, hey. He bets what is really a marginal hand. JR is going to really, I mean, he can only beat a pure bluff.
He's going to raise here, Dave. He raises.
Wow, that might work.
And that might work. That might get the 4 to fold. I mean, was he betting 10-9 the whole time?
Wow.
100 more.
He's going to make it 100 more, and now it's 100 more to call, and the pot is about $300.
I mean, for you to raise that, you have to specifically put your opponent on either 2 pair or a 4.
And look at that, David folds, and
Right?
JR's going to take it down.
There's no way he's going to lay down a 9 there. I mean, it might be a crying call, but he's going to call it the 9.
So I get an email here from Keith Bayer. He says, Bart and Dave, I'm a huge fan of the show. Never miss an episode. You guys are the best. This email refers to a hand where Bart was playing in a no-limit game. At the end of his session, flopped bottom set with a board of deuce 3-4 with 2 hearts. Bart, you said that you folded to a bet. I actually bet a solid guy to my left call, and I folded to a giant raise. He says you shouldn't have folded for 2 main reasons. Deuce-deuce is known as meeps and should never be folded. And also, there are very few hands beating you in that spot. There's no greater than a 15% chance that your opponent is holding 5-6, ace-5, 4-4, or 3-3. I've gone over this a couple times. I mean, it was more of a situation, Dave, where I didn't want to get, and that's for Todd Meepson.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I think what you told me and what was more relevant to it was not really what your hand was. It was more of that your focus was not being on the game.
Right, I had to get out of there quick.
And you were kind of already into the next mode. You were already stacking your chips. You were ready to leave.
Yeah. King 6 deuce here, a couple of hearts.
And I guess you didn't want to get caught losing a lot of money in a hand that you weren't really focused on.
You know, if I was focused, I probably would have continued to play the hand. Especially now that I know the guy who made that move, Dave. I actually pointed
that dealer who's dealing us tonight.
Oh, yeah. He was a dealer that did that.
Oh,
if it was a dealer, I knew I would have called
if you knew it was a dealer, forget it. Fernando's made a flush, and so is Todd. Fernando's got the best flush.
Yeah.
And you see the check mark next to his name. Yeah, dealers are notoriously the worst players.
Right. $10 bet here by Todd, and a call by Actually, Fernando's going to make a little mini raise here. He's going to... No, he just called. He just did call.
It's funny, there are some dealers that kind of transform into really, really great players, a la Scott Fishman.
Rivers a 6 here. Looks like it's probably going to get checked down here. Unless Fernando thinks he's going to need to bet here to win. He bets.
He might even think he needs to bet this.
That's 35.
Wow, and what can Todd do? Todd can't beat anything.
What would the guy have called with on the turn there that you can't beat? And I'll go over that hand again, Dave. Again, this was late, I think it was on a Thursday or Wednesday of last week. It was my last hand of the night, right before I had to come into the booth, and I was rushed. I limped in with pocket deuces under the gun. And the flop came out deuce 3-4 with 2 hearts.
Right.
I led the pot. A guy to my left called, and this guy in seat 4 raised it to 400. I just folded.
Now you
hell out of there.
Now you said the player who's smooth calling you is a pretty solid type player.
Yeah.
And that's obviously the player you're scared of. You're not really scared of the guy who moves all in on you.
We didn't move all in.
The guy who raised it 400. That's not really the guy you're scared of.
Not really. Yeah.
You're more scared of the guy who smooth called behind you. Who knows? He could easily have been smooth calling you at ace 5 or 5-6.
Yeah.
20.
I mean, I don't mind if your head's not in the game. You shouldn't be playing poker. And you said you were actually getting up. You just said played one last hand for for shits and giggles.
We're going to go this one here without card graphics. Seat 4's raised here with King Queen suited, and Seat 5's call with King Jack. We have about an hour left in the show here. A little under that.
3 players.
So 3-way action here. Pocket 3s, Peter in Seat 1 has made the call. And the flop comes out ace 4 ace. And funny enough, pocket 3s here are good for Peter in Seat 1.
That's not a bad flop for pocket 3s.
Oh, now we got the cards up.
I mean, you think about it. Ace 4. I mean, unless you wouldn't put your opponent on 4, so unless they have a pocket pair, it's not a bad flop.
Gets checked around. The turn's a 5. Well, it's another overcard. He's got a straight draw now because he thinks someone's sandbagging an ace.
I think he's going to put some money in there and find out if somebody's sandbagging.
He's going to bet.
And it's always tough to put a move on somebody because if you don't have the ace, it's very easy for somebody else to have the ace. And it's always scary to be raising somebody when you might be raising right into their nuts.
He's going to bet, looks like 35 here. And I think that's probably going to do it here, Dave.
I always maintain one of the hardest times to bluff is when, say, there's a 4 flush out there. And your opponent bets into you a little bit. Or your opponent even checks to you. And you bluff the river. It's kind of scary because you don't, if they've got the ace of hearts or the ace of whatever it is, the ace high flush, the nut flush it is, obviously there's no way you can get them off that hand.
Right.
And you might be betting into a hand that you're just, you're giving money away.
Email here from Chris Land. He says, looks like the best I can do is second regarding the tournament bracket. Kev Mouth started over on ESPN. By the way, the show's great. I've been watching for about 3 months. One of the best tools on the internet. Again,
Thanks a lot, Chris.
You can email us at live@thebike.com with your questions, comments, suggestions, as always.
Yeah, we really appreciate all your emails, really do. Keep the show as interactive as possible. It makes it fun for us. Hopefully it makes it fun for you. We try to keep this as kind of like a live radio show.
There he blows.
And seat number 6, Richard, has made it $20 with pocket 10s. Seat number 8, Diesel there. He's going to make the call with 7-8 suited. Folds around with JR. And JR Crusher is going to call at 4-5. He-Man's got the big lick. See what he does there with 69.
Yep.
4 players.
4-way action here.
Flop is all diamonds there. Give me a drink. I got a drink. JR's got 4-5. He's got a gut shot. Ace, queen, deuce of diamonds. And Richard's going to bet here. It's not a great flop for him. He does have a 10 of diamonds, and he actually has the best hand. You imagine nobody's going to get involved here. Kind of a little, let me see where I'm at bet. If he gets any resistance at all, I'll probably get rid of it. But it folds around the He-Man. And He-Man's got 9-6 offsuit. I mean, this is pretty much raise or fold play here. Actually, I'm sorry. The action's actually on JR. JR still has hands.
Yep.
He's got a gut shot with the 5 of diamonds. And he's going to throw this away. Richard takes it down.
Yep.
Not a great flop for pocket 10s, but he actually had the best hand.
Button's going to move over here to seat 1.
Once again, you can catch us every Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 p.m. Pacific time. I know next week, I want to say next Saturday at 2 in the morning is Daylight Savings.
Yes. Of course, you can also catch the show on a replay. It starts right after the show, and it starts an hour after the show, runs up to 5 Pacific time the next day. And the entire week's shows are on Sundays on a replay. You can also sign up for the archives, $14.95 a month, gets you all of the access to every show that we've ever done.
It's crazy. It's just $14.95.
Inside Straight episode in March.
I mean, over 1,500 hours of content with players such as The Grinder, Barry Greenstein, Greg Raymer. I mean, you name it, they've been on the show.
Got a raise here by seat number 7. He makes it 20 to go. With pocket 4s, and He-Man's going to call with the suited ace-8 of clubs. Here we go to the flop. Jack 8-7 with a couple of diamonds. Well, He-Man's outflopped him. He's got second pair, top kicker.
Now, Fernando fires again, though. I mean, can He-Man call this? Ace-8 of clubs is not really the flop you're looking for, is it?
Fernando bets 30 now. As you can see, that He-Man is an overwhelming favorite here, Dave, on this flop.
If only he knew.
Is he going to get involved?
A lot easier to call this if there's at least one club out there. Wow, he's going to move all in.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately for him, this probably is only going to get called by a hand that can beat him.
Right.
I mean, unless Fernando thinks he's doing this with diamonds. Fernando can only beat a bluff.
But even if he's doing it with diamonds and they're overcards.
Yeah, he's a dog.
Yeah.
But he would be getting, say, 2-3 to 1 on his money.
Yeah, and then he could probably call.
Yeah.
I mean, but let's say the guy had something like King 10 of diamonds.
He makes
so he's got a gut shot. Wow.
He makes the call here, and he's in horrible shape. He could catch running diamonds. Now only a 4 is going to do it. It does not come. And ace-8 is going to win on that board.
77.
I know, look at that board.
Yeah. 7-8, Jack, Queen 9. Ace-8 wins. So we talked about Laurel Canyon. We talked about Sunset Boulevard, L.A. Confidential, Big Lebowski.
I love Big Lebowski.
What are some of the other movies that have had great L.A. settings? Oh, yeah. Adaptation.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
It's great. I like the adaptation. Did you like that?
Yeah. Great L.A. settings.
But if you just watch any old movie, if you just were to turn on a random movie,
right,
especially the lower, like, B movies,
yeah,
you can almost always recognize some building or street or something. That's L.A. My brother-in-law is actually a scout. And he's
location scout?
He's a location scout. And he drives around, 5-6 hours a day taking pictures of different locations.
He works for the location manager?
He is. He's the man. Location manager. Exactly. Okay. He's gotten to the point where he's working directly for the directors. The director will contact him and say, listen, I need a shot for this. I need a place for this shot here.
Got a raise here with pocket 7s out of seat 7. Seat 9's going to call. It's a $35 raise. He calls with Queen Jack off suit.
All right, there's just 2 of you.
So our heads up here, Dave. 7s against Queen Jack. Here we go to the flop. Ace-6-6. Well, Fernando's good here with 7s.
Yep.
And he checks it, and Todd looks like he's going to bet.
30.
He bets 30.
Yeah, try to represent here.
They could do an online server. No problem. There's one guy who wears a gear.
And sevens is out of there, and Todd
Yeah,
uses
wow.
his position to take it down. There it is.
Odd. I mean, he calls with fours last time, and this time with sevens, he throws it away. Just assuming his opponent must have an ace.
Yeah, he's over there with the big guy. Yeah, he's sitting over there.
Button's going to move over here to seat 3.
Once again, keep your email coming, your questions coming in. If we don't get to it at the show, we might be able to answer it during the Inside Straight, or who knows, maybe even tomorrow. You never know.
Right.
I'm only talking to 2 people. One's not here. The other one's being
You watched a lot of Seinfeld, right? In your time. Did you ever see that episode where they had like the LA scene, like back in 92, 93? It comes up on my TiVo sometimes in the repeats. They actually had an external LA episode where Kramer moved to LA.
I don't remember.
And
I
he
mean,
was
I might,
arrested for murder.
wow. I might recognize it if I see it, but
They were up in limped around here. 5 ways.
all spades.
863 here, all spades. They're up in Runyon Canyon.
Really?
Up,
Okay.
you know. No one has any spade. Turns a 10.
Actually, the king of spades is in seat 6, but we don't have it up there.
Oh, okay. King 4.
Yeah.
King of spades.
He's tough.
And
And
now
turn, Richard's gonna bet.
Yeah, Richard's going to bet here. Turn was at 10 of clubs.
It's a wrap.
And Richard is going to take it down here.
Take it down, Richard.
Yep.
Has he got like a Star Trek shirt on?
Enterprise. That offshoot,
We right there.
least successful offshoot spin-off of the Star Trek franchise. I think it lasted about three
I gotta tell you, I never, ever
Look at it. Look
got
at
into
it.
that Trek thing.
Really, I actually was a huge Next Generation fan. I've seen every episode.
Really?
Every episode.
That explains so much.
Oh.
He's got some blues on there.
Oh, I had the biggest crush on Counselor Troy when I was little, Dave.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, it's funny. My mother-in-law and her sister, Haley Mills and Juliet Mills, they actually do a lot of those signings, especially Haley. She goes to those signings.
Like a Passions convention?
Not really Passions, but Haley gets to do like the old when she was in the a lot of like Disney movies
Yeah.
when she was a kid, and she does a lot of these signings. And she says that 90% of the people that are there are the Trekkies. And but the funny thing is they come like in uniform,
Right.
like all dressed up and ready to go.
Three-way action here. We had a little raise by seat 9. We can't see seat 2's cards. Flop comes out Queen 9-3 with a couple of hearts.
David's got a queen.
Well, Eric's got Jack 8 of hearts. He's got a gut shot and a flush draw.
Pretty big hand here for Eric, but David is in the lead right now.
Todd gets 20. Eric calls, and let's see what David is going to do. He might just move in, and he does. That's probably going to get Todd out of the hand. But now with what the pot is, and it's probably only 45 more, it's an easy call for Eric.
Oh,
He's got a gut shot
definitely.
with hearts.
Getting almost 2-1 on his money, probably more than 2 to 1.
More
on
than
his
2 to
money.
1, probably 3 to 1.
Time for C9.
Obviously, any 10 or any heart would give him the win here.
Todd has absolutely nothing here. He's probably going to fold.
I got a call.
And he said,
Yeah,
I got to
he's-
call, and he's right. He does have to call.
You can see it's a little under 50-50 here. Eric is
Pretty much a coin flip. Getting 3 to 1 on your money is
Yeah.
a no-brainer.
turns a 4. Eric needs a heart or a 10, and it does not come.
What a terrible call.
Uncle stays alive.
Wouldn't that be great?
Night.
Obviously, there are times in No Limit Hold'em, especially cash games, where you can make the right move and just not win the pot.
Well, there's a fundamental mistake there by C3. Calling a raise when he's on the short stack with Queen Jack. The pre-flop raise or bet, a call in between, and then committing the rest of your chips with Queen Jack.
Right.
I'm not saying that it's probably best for him, I guess, maybe to push there on the flop, but there's no reason why he should be in there with pre-flop with such short chips with Queen Jack, right?
Right, you talk about Queen Jack, and Queen Jack is really a hand. If in a raised pot, you really want to be in there with a lot of chips.
Right.
And your opponent has a lot of chips, so you have big implied odds.
Yep.
I mean, I guess if you're short and you want to just commit and go for it, hey.
Yeah.
You never even saw my cards.
Sometimes it's not necessary.
Again, you can email us at live@thebike.com.
Am I small now?
Yeah.
Buttons moved over here to seat number 7.
Peter Greystoke has gotten up from a second.
I didn't even get to look at
First to act is seat number 2.
We got a little raise here by seat 6. Jack 8 offsuit. Made it 15 to go.
Two players.
And Todd is in here with Queen 8. Ace 8-4. Dave's having a little trouble with our wireless mouse, huh? Might be just the batteries, man. Cool down. You think you're about to rip somebody's head off.
No, I'm just going to throw the thing through the window.
Todd comes out and bets here with Queen 8, and he's going to take it down. With middle pair there.
Well, we got people sending us emails. I can't get to the emails.
Because of the mouse?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
you're
seem
not.
to have no problem with it.
Yeah, I know. It seems to work for me.
What the hell is that?
Got about 45 minutes left of the
If they
show.
decide that they want to talk about it, or if
Take a look at another chip count here.
Good segue. Thank you, Isaac.
we'll say something about it.
Over 3,200 on the table. That's not bad. I mean, you think about it. This table starts with 1,800.
Right.
So we've added over $1,400 to the table.
So macho.
Let's see how they're doing. And boom. There it is. Poof. Pa poof. Zam. Shazam. There it is.
Yeah.
Wow, JR. Look at him. He's on fire. He's really the only guy on the table who's really mixed it up in the sense he's bluffed a little bit,
Right.
made some moves. He's gotten some big hands, and he's up over $500 for the night already.
Go ahead.
Fernando's not doing well. They're down over 500.
He got serious. He put his hat back on and his glasses.
Limped around here. And we're going to see a raise here by C2 Dave with Queen Jack offsuit.
35 to call.
35 to call.
Make it happen, Captain.
Now, I mean, I love Fernando's hand. It's a hand that I really like to play, especially in position. But you got to look at this. Okay, this guy's got about $160. Now he's putting 20%, 22% of his stack in there pre-flop. That is just too much of a speculative hand. Like 8-9, there's just nothing there.
Flop comes out Queen 4-9 here. Todd is not in the hand, and Eric's hit the top pair.
I mean, it gets you to the point where you almost feel like you need to commit with a.
And look at this, the Queen Jack checked it, Dave, and Fernando checked right behind him. And now Eric moves all in when the king appears on the turn. I mean, that is a dangerous way to play that hand.
Yeah, very odd.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he thought Fernando was pretty aggressive. Maybe he could check raise him.
Small blind.
I don't quite get that one. Yeah, this guy's hat is a little askew. C2.
I think he meant it.
Really?
I think.
You know what? You know the player Raymond Davis. He's really
Yeah, of
got
course.
that askew hat, huh?
Yeah, works for him.
Wouldn't work for me.
I think you should try it, man.
Look at that USC Law Poker.
Usually when I buy the button,
That's pretty cool.
Pocket jacks here for seat 4.
You don't see that every day.
My stack.
Jared just limps in here with jacks.
Yeah, when you came in earlier.
Wow. Slow playing a little bit. And look at that. Look at that. And Richard raises it with ace-10 offsuit. He limps in, thinking maybe he's going for the limp re-raise, and he might get it.
Yeah, JR might get this limp re-raise here with jacks. Let's see what he does.
I mean, I will say this table is almost, I'd probably say 70% of the pots have been raised pre-flop.
He's just going to call here, Dave. Out of position. Here we go to the flop.
$5. $5.
Oh, all clubs.
Wow,
Yeah, Richard's the only one with a club here.
And not a real good flop for 2 jacks there.
Richard's going to make that continuation bet. He's played it pretty tight all night. He bets 35 here. And again, if you put him on 2 overcards here with a club, you are a dog.
Yeah, now, would you ever just call this, right now,
Yeah.
call it, and if a safe card comes on turn, then lead out right into your opponent?
Maybe a safe card, obviously below jacks. It's not a club, right?
Exactly.
Now, in this case, Richard does not have 2 overcards. He has 1 overcard with
I mean,
a club.
you're trying to keep the pot a little small just in case your opponent has
Raise it up,
queens.
35.
Well, he's actually going to check raise the minimum here, Dave.
Well, that's another way to play it. I mean, sometimes in no limit, you've got to kind of control the pot. My favorite way of playing this hand would probably, at this point, probably be just to call it, see the turn, and then raise it up.
Well, I don't. But now, if you're Richard, you got check raised. Yeah, I would think I would probably just get rid of
Oh,
that.
yeah, it's an easy laydown for Richard.
Yeah.
The problem is when you check raise, if you're JR,
We can see the
What do
turn card would have been one of those cards. It would have been a 7 spades.
yeah,
So
I mean, the only problem is, okay, JR makes that check raise, right? If you're seat number 6 and Richard just calls there,
Right.
now what do you do, you jacks?
right,
How do you know you're not up against queens, kings, or aces?
right. Wait, have you headed over like around the USC area downtown?
I've been there a couple times.
A lot of little hotties walking around.
Yeah,
Well, if you go right on campus, you got to be careful not to go.
Yeah, it's
don't
true.
stray
I actually
too
like
far.
driving around Westwood a little better.
Do you?
UCLA.
USC's got so many hotter chicks than UCLA.
No, you're right
It's not
about that,
close.
but it is a little safer though.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely safer. But USC's got, USC's private school. UCLA's, nothing different there. But come on, it's not even close.
Private elitists, little
Exactly.
cute little bitch girls jumping around, all prancing about. Peter's got pocket nines here on the button. I had my fair share of that at Syracuse State for sure.
Oh, it's not even
Yeah.
comparison. I lived in Westwood for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there are some hot ones there, but
Three-way action here.
I wasn't overly impressed.
10-6-8 here. Now Peter, he's got second pair to the board plus a gut shot. And JR looks like he's going to bleed out with bottom pair here.
Although I will say there are a lot more Asian chicks.
Yeah, there are a
at
lot of Asian
UCLA,
chicks
so
at
you
UCLA.
probably would like that. better.
Got a bet here by JR and a call by Peter. The turn's a deuce. Let's see what JR is going to do now. Check here on the turn. And the river's a deuce.
Well, that doesn't change anything. I mean, you probably think your nines are good here. Let's see if Peter puts out a little value bet here.
Would you value bet this on the river?
You might. At this point, he's got the
Peter is
button.
actually holding the button in his
Yeah, I
hand.
mean, if it gets checked to me, I think I bet it.
Yeah, he's just going to check it down.
I mean, I probably would. I might check it to induce a bluff or check it with the intention of calling. But if a guy checks me there, I think my nines are good. I'm probably going to bet it and hope maybe an 8 or a 6 call me.
You don't think that maybe someone let out with Jack 10 and then just tried to get a showdown at the
And then
end?
check turn and check the river?
Maybe.
Maybe. But if they did, then I'm going to put some pressure on them and see if I can get them off their hand. Obviously, it's always easier for us in the booth knowing what everybody has.
Right.
But I think if somebody checks it twice to me there. Pocket deuces for seat number 9. Todd's got deuces. Ace 9 of clubs for Richard in seat 6.
Well, it's funny, Barry Woods' daughter goes to USC. And he's talking about how, sometimes he'll go to some of his daughter's functions.
Yeah.
Like our sorority functions for all the family.
He said he went to some car wash, like sorority car wash.
God.
And he was just
Sorority car wash, right out of the B movie.
Yeah, he was like, oh my.
Sorority
man, I was
car
like,
wash.
Jeez. Oh. That's just asking for it, isn't it?
Three-way action here. A lot of wet T-shirts and soap. 10-7-3 here with a couple spades. Nice flop for JR. He's got middle pair and a spade draw.
Yeah, he's got the best hand right now and the best draw, and you can see the overwhelming favorite that he is.
Checked around. The turn's a jack. See if he leads out now.
And he's still obviously an overwhelming favorite. Richard would need an ace or a 9 that is not a spade, and Todd would need a deuce, and only a deuce.
$25 bet here by JR.
Yeah, he'll take it down. It's a $45 pot. Nice bet.
You got it, neighbor?
I mean, isn't there a movie probably called Sorority Car Wash? Probably multiple ones.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I have no doubt.
Free car wash. Wink,
Yeah.
wink.
Yeah, he told me that too. He said that.
Button's going to move over here to seat 3.
I tell you, it's funny. One of my best friend actually has a 2-year-old girl, just turned 2 this past weekend. And it's so funny. He talks about like building a fortress around her so she can't meet anybody until she's like 40. I always joke around with my wife, hoping that we have twin boys.
Yeah, so you don't have to deal with that stuff. It's a lot less maintenance.
I want a girl, but I mean,
It's
give me twin boys first.
Yeah, it's a lot less. $30 raise here. You could let boys do more on their own early in younger ages too. You don't have to worry about
Whatever.
them.
You just kind of, you just hold them and go get them. You know.
Courtesy calls.
Got a raise here with King 8 of clubs. T2 here is going to call with 8-10 off suit.
My wife cringes at the thought. But can you imagine 2 little Tuckmans running around? Man, that's scary. That'd be.
JR's got pocket 8s here in seat 4.
15? You want me that 15?
Looks like he's going to come in for the call.
Can you imagine Fernando's going to call 2 now?
Actually, you know what? JR's going to raise here.
Really? Wow. Okay. Well, senses a little weakness. Why not take it down right now, huh?
He's going to make it 60 more.
And I tell you, JR's running good. And he's running this table over.
30 plus what? 60.
And he's in great shape. mean, you can see, obviously, he's not going to hit a set.
And Peter's going to re-raise with king 8 of clubs. He's going to make it 200 more.
Wow, these players are deep.
Yeah.
That week?
I think you lay this down if you've got 8s here, right? I mean,
Oh, it's an easy laydown.
You want to know why they call me the Crusher, huh?
But he's in great shape, but how does he know that here? I mean, remember, seat 8 now. Fernando has, I'm sorry, Diesel here. He has raised to 45, gotten a caller and another caller. Now JR has re-raised him 60 more, and now seat 8 has come back over the top, $200 more over that. Wow. And Brian has told him, take as much time as you'd like.
Take your time.
Man, I guess you sense some weakness. I mean, it's not a play that I really like in a cash game. I like to pick my spots a little bit better. You're risking 200 here to win, say, 100.
Go at it. The fans are waiting.
The play makes more sense in a tournament where you really have to accumulate chips.
but at this point, you know, and sometimes you can really win good money in a game like this when you're both deep because someone might not be as experienced playing deep stack if you ever move down, you know.
Right.
All right, I'll get to see it at home.
And look at it, the flop is
Jack 3-5.
yeah, Jack 3-5.
Queen 3-5.
Doesn't want to make a difference. Someone's looking a king out there.
You wonder if, you know, he's not going to make the call there to that re-raise, but not
He's probably
necessarily.
going to just move all in, right? We understand what you're saying there. Obviously, you're risking. You've raised. This guy in early position has re-raised you, and now you're putting him to the test for 200 more. Man, if he's got jacks or higher or ace-king, he might move you all in, and you just risk $200 to win 100.
You really lived over in Westwood?
I did. When I first moved out here, I lived with a buddy in Beverly Hills for about 2 months inside. I basically just lived in a room. And then the first thing I did was I rented a fraternity during the summer.
At UCLA?
At one of the fraternity houses, I rented a room over the summer for 3 months. And then I moved in with a couple of girls where I rented the dining room. It was a 2-bedroom.
Did you hang out with some of those frat boys that were still around over the summer?
Not really the frat boys. I just kind of did my own thing. I hung out with more sorority girls.
Oh, that's get some of those girls coming in.
But then I rented a dining room in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath house. Apartment, actually.
Raise here by David, king queen suited. And JR is going to re-raise here with ace 7 offsuit. Boy, some of these guys are really taking liberties here today.
How much to call?
Yeah, and you wonder if, like, you know, Peter C. there, Diesel, and seat number 8, and JR, they are fixing to get into a big pot. And these guys are the 2 biggest, deepest stacks on the table.
Yeah, he makes the call with Jack 10 of diamonds. Now David here, king queen of hearts. He's going to make the call here as well.
That was a courtesy call, by the way, Crusher.
And we got a $135 pot going 3 ways. JR, the original pre-flop re-raiser. Well, Eric's got top pair here.
Yeah, he's in good shape. And is he going to check raise? Let's see what he does.
Check and pay.
Well, the funny thing about Jack 10 that Peter has to realize if he watches this and moves on to deeper stack games, is he prepared to basically put all his stacking? Because I think what we've seen of him today, he would. And this is not the type of flop you're looking for with Jack 10.
No, it's one of the reasons why if you're playing this game and you get your stack up to $600-700, you can really make a lot of money. You got pocket queens or pocket kings here. You watch a player overextend himself with a hand like Jack 10 here, and you can make a killing. Now, in this case, obviously, he's in great shape.
JR here is bet 100.
I mean, that's not a good flop at all for Jack 10 of diamonds.
Yeah, and he makes the call. Remember, JR re-raised it pretty big pre-flop. So he can easily have an overpair. Now we can see that Peter is way out in front. The turns of 4.
All in.
Well, here you go, Dave. Now Peter moves all in with Jack 10.
Yeah, exactly.
And you think to yourself, you know, if I had aces here, I would think, what does this guy have? I mean, does he have 3-5? I think I would make this call with aces in a heartbeat, right?
You make the call with you might make the call with ace jack.
Yeah.
You know, it just doesn't make any sense. You go, yeah, you got 3-5, man. God bless you. Take my money. Good job.
But again, you know, not to criticize Peter personally, but just from what I've seen tonight, I had a feeling that he was comfortable committing his whole stack with that flop with Jack 10, and that is not the flop. You want to put a lot of money in with that hand out of position.
It's one of the reasons why you can make a lot of money in a game like this. You see a good player in seat 1, Peter Greystoke.
Right.
He won a big pot earlier with the kings when seat number 8 overextended himself.
Right.
And you see Peter in seat 1, he'll just sit there. He's kind of sitting in the brush, waiting for a big hand. And he's got $500 in front of him. And I wouldn't be surprised if he doubled up. he had 900 or 1,000 at some point. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Button's going to move to seat 5 here.
Takes that one down. I mean, he had the best hand there. But obviously, you got to be careful when you're calling raises, big raises with Jack 10.
My first in line?
Nice bet, though.
Well, you have to realize what is a good flop for Jack 10 of diamonds. If I call a guy who's deep and I'm out of position, is Jack 5-6 or Jack 5-3 the type of hand where I'm going to check call the flop and then when the turn comes blank, I move all in? Yeah. Is that how you want to play that hand? Probably not, right?
Top pair is just one pair there, especially only 10 kicker.
I mean, a 5.
You've got to realize also by betting all in there, you're only going to get a called by a hand that can beat you. I mean, you really think like, pocket 9s are going to call you?
4 players.
4-way action here.
Too much. You have to have a real high testosterone.
9-8-4 here with a couple spades. And I always wonder, it's interesting, like if we were to go out to seat 8 and ask Peter Diesel, when you made that move, did you think you had the best hand? Because then if he actually sits down and works it back in his head, if he thinks he has the best hand, there's really nothing that's going to call him that's worse. And if he doesn't, and if he's trying to do it as a play, well, I guess hell of a play with top pair, almost like a little semi-bluff, and you think the guy has you beat, but there just isn't a whole lot you can represent there on the turn, you know what I mean? I think he thinks he has the best hand. He's trying to protect it somehow, Dave, but,
Well, that's okay. Hey, well, if you think you got the best hand and you want to protect it, okay. The pot was already about $300, $350. I'm fine with that. But you have to realize that you're not going to get, there's no value in the play. I mean, you're not going to get called by a hand worse than yours.
Yeah. Email here from Eric in Montreal. He says, good show, very good job commentating. Can you explain what the cut of the house is, Dave? Well, we call that the rake here. And in this game, when we see a flop, the dealer takes $4 out of the pot, plus 1 for the jackpot. Right. Jackpot is, aces full of 10s beaten by 4 of a kind or better. And that is what the rake is in this game.
Yeah, now in California, it's illegal to take rake based on how big the pot is.
Yeah.
So we just take a flat rake. Regardless of whether the pot is $800, $8,000, or $28, pretty much it's going to be a $4 rake. Now in Vegas, you'll often see them take like 10% up to $5.
Seat 8's going to...
Well, Richard has brought this one in for a raise with ace-jack of diamonds, and he's going to get put in here by pocket jacks.
Now the funny thing is, Fernando in seat 7 has done this move a couple of times, and is now Peter going to get? Is he getting in the wrong spot here? Because he's got 10s.
Yeah, Peter in seat 1 has pocket 10s here.
So he might call him here.
I could have took him out.
I mean, he almost called him last time with 9s.
Right.
And now he's got one better hand. Fernando's done it again, and I think he's going to call.
He does call. And I think he can probably hope that maybe Richard will fold behind him. Maybe Richard was just kind of making a little button steal. This is an easy fold now that Peter calls.
Once Peter calls, it's an easy fold, exactly. Because Peter's calling with a minimum here. 10s is probably the worst hand he could have, right? Good chance he has ace-king, or even better than jacks. Now, do you ever re-raise with a hand like queens or kings? Or do you just call?
Queens or kings?
Yeah, would you re-raise?
On the side, you mean?
Yeah. Or do you just call and see flop? You figure if somebody's got less than aces or kings, you're in good shape.
Hey, it depends. Well, now Peter's got a straight draw. He can catch an 8 or a 10. Turns an ace. Still needs an 8 or a 10. And he does not get it.
Nope.
He had 6 outs there with 2 cards to come.
Yeah, Fernando takes it down. And Peter's only played about 3 hands, and he's just gotten his money in with the worst of it a couple of times.
Button's going to move over there to seat number 7.
Eric from Montreal, man. I love Montreal.
Man, I went out to Montreal for New Year's back in, say, New Year's of '99. And I got to tell you, I mean, I've been in some cold weather, but I've never been in weather where you walk out and every orifice that has any liquid on it freezes on your body. I'm talking about your eyes freeze instantly. It was negative 37 Fahrenheit.
Oh, that's low.
It wasn't even that windy either.
Were you drinking?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Give me one more chance.
Look at this pocket jacks again here. This time he's on the button seat 7, 2 in a row. Same hand twice. He's going to raise here again. He makes it 80.
Well, he's kind of got that reckless gambler image going on, and he might get action. You never know.
I mean, like any liquid in your nose,
gone.
In your eyes.
Frozen.
Instantly.
Montreal's a great party town, though. You ever get down there? Yeah, yeah.
But it was damn cold, I got to tell you.
So those are the times you got to get yourself some good bottle of alcohol. and a good woman. Warm yourself up.
I don't think he's going to get called in any spot here, and he does not. People don't realize that we talk about East Coast, and everyone thinks, well, it's always cold. And even up where you grew up, in upstate New York, you have the lakes. Anytime you're within 100 miles of water, it really does not get below, say, I want to say 0 Fahrenheit. I mean, in Boston, New York, it rarely will get below, say, 20, 15 at the coldest. During the day, it's very rare that it's under 20.
Yeah, it's a little difference in inland next to a lake and the ocean.
Oh, yeah, of course, but you're not seeing negative 30-degree temperatures in upstate New York, really.
No, not negative 30,
Yeah.
but we do get negative 8, negative 9, negative, you know.
Definitely colder than Boston and New York City.
Yeah. Well, we're also north and inland.
Right. Raise here by seat number 5. King, Queen offsuit. And he's going to take it down. I mean, that lake effect snow in upstate New York, those areas in upstate New York and I want to say western and central Pennsylvania get the most amount of snow of anywhere in the country, with the exception of, I guess, places up in the Rocky Mountains like Colorado.
It just dumps up there.
Yeah. 100 inches a year, easy. I was actually lucky when I went to Syracuse the 4 years I was there. We didn't really have a 100-inch year. We didn't get a lot of snow.
You didn't get that much snow, huh?
No.
Yeah, we usually got, like, I'm trying to think, we'd usually get routinely 3 1-foot dumpings, at least.
Yeah.
And then you get sprinkled snow the rest of the year.
Actually reminds me of something else here. We see a lot of Broadway here. 5-way action.
King, Jack, Queen 9, Ace, Jack, Jack, Queen 10.
Well, 5, 6 of spades, that's the best hand here. Ace, 4, 6 with a couple diamonds.
Actually, David's got an ace.
Oh, you're right.
Ace, Jack there.
And he's going to bet at 25, and he's going to take it down. The one thing I remember about Syracuse, too, and I actually was watching this show on Discovery called Survivor Man. I love that show. It's about this guy that strands himself and films it for a week.
I saw that.
Oh, it's so much fun. One of the episodes he was done was Arctic, where he was up in Canada, someplace up in the Inuit. And one of the dangerous things about being up in a bunch of snow very far north during the day is what they call day blindness, which was the snow reflecting off of, or the sun reflecting off the snow. And I remember that. Look at it.
David's got aces.
David. You really need to walk around with sunglasses in upstate New York.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Well, you know about getting, obviously, you can get sunburn here. Now, David's in the big blind. I'm curious how to see how everybody plays this. Look at this. Nobody's giving him action.
Yeah, they're going to chop it up here, it looks like.
No, not too
Well,
quick.
the button's got, oh, we got a limp here by seat 9 and a limp.
Let me see, I can do something crazy.
Check Survivor Man out.
I saw it. It's a pretty cool show. And David's going to raise out of the blind. This is pretty much saying, I have a strong hand. Now, he also has almost no money behind. So it's one of those times where you don't really want to. There's no implied odds.
Absolutely no implied odds.
David takes down. Yeah, you've heard, obviously, you know, when you go skiing
right
on a really sunny day, you've got to put a lot of sunblock on.
Yeah.
So you can get a killer sunburn.
I gotta keep them there? Oh, okay.
There's always one at the table, you know. Seat 2 is not cooperating with us.
Send Ray out there. He's our heavy.
Email here from Sung Choi. Said, hey, Bart and Dave, love the show. I don't know if it's mentioned yet. Did you see the hand between P. Jackson and Phil Ivey at the Monte Carlo Millions? I didn't actually see that hand, but I heard a lot about that hand. Basically, it was like a raise and a bluff and a re-raise and a bluff. And Ivey re-raised all in the guy with a stone-cold bluff. And the guy had already committed about 75 or 80%. So he would basically need to call with 2 overcards. And I guess Ivey was so sure he had nothing. He did it, and the guy laid his hand down. Wow. It was amazing.
You don't look twice, okay?
Well, sometimes Scott doesn't read. You know, Scott Fishman does that occasionally, too, where you'll see him.
Okay, 15 more.
Somebody will raise in late position. He'll re-raise. Somebody else will re-raise him, and he'll move all in, knowing the guy's bluffing him. I mean, that's like a sixth sense.
15 is a little scary and weak, but I call.
2 down.
Razor here by JR with King 4 clubs on the seat 4.
15. 6 players.
6-way action.
$90 pot.
Queen 5-6 here.
Oh, I first.
Yeah, the best hand is actually still Peter with pocket 7s, right?
Check.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it gets checked over to David. He's going to throw a $65 bet out there in position. Actually, that's Eric with 5-10. He's got bottom pair.
We got bottom pair with the backdoor hearts.
Now, is Peter just going to get away from this hand? I mean, he's only looking at 1 overcard.
I mean, there's also only one player before him in the button.
Yeah.
I mean, it did go 6 ways, though.
Well, it was just before you called.
And nobody's going to call. Eric gets the respect. He shows the 5, thinking it's probably the best hand, and takes it down. Takes down a $90 pot.
I was never a big skier for some reason, even though I was from the East Coast.
Really? Well, Boston, that's not.
No, but sometimes it all depends on your parents if they take you skiing when you're
right.
little or not.
Right.
I think it's really dangerous to try to learn skiing when you're full grown.
I mean, it's funny. I mean, I only learned snowboarding a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I will never ski again.
Really,
I love skiing, but snowboarding just blows it away. It's not even close.
You
I love
fell
snowboarding.
on your ass. Supposedly they say like you fall on your ass the first 2 days and then you never kind of do again. You just pick it up. It's like a learning curve.
Yeah,
thing.
basically, you take a couple of lessons and you pick it up. And I mean, snowboarding is so much fun.
Pocket 10s here. Does your wife snowboard too?
She does, yeah.
Pocket 10s here in seat 5. Got a $15 raise by David with ace 7 offsuit. Now let's see what seat 5 is going to do. He's going to re-raise him. It's heads up. And that was actually Eric that raised with ace 5 suited.
And He-Man looks like he's just going to call this. And, nope, it looks like he's going to raise. Sorry. 50 more.
Makes it 50 more to go here.
He takes it down.
We've got about 15 minutes left in the show.
Yeah, we actually went up to Lake Tahoe, I want to say about 2.5 years ago. And went skiing up at Heaven. And we went there for a week. We rented a cabin, brought our dogs and everything, and spent a week just snowboarding. And at the end of the week, I was actually pretty good.
So you drove there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Drove there,
If
right?
you want to go to Tahoe from here, you fly into Reno, right? Isn't that
You could, or you
thing?
could drive. I mean, it's actually only a 7-hour drive.
Only. Some people in Europe think we're crazy. I remember when I lived over there, they're like, guy couldn't even believe that I was taking a train from London to Glasgow. Being on a train for 4 or 5 hours. 'Cause everything's so close.
Yeah.
They would fly anywhere.
But I like the drive.
Well, Southwest American, say, scenery is unlike anything else in the world, those deserty mountain plateaus,
Right.
limped around here.
6th player.
6-way action.
Even though we kind of went north, we didn't go southwest, but yeah.
Yeah, but this California, Nevada, and Arizona is still the southwest of this country.
Right.
Southwest America.
Right.
Scenery,
Yeah, in general, of course.
Jack 8, Jack here, turns a Jack.
And wow, look at this quad jacks for Richard.
Yeah, he checked the 3 Jacks on the flop, and he's made quads.
And nobody's got anything, obviously. I mean, it's one of those things where you just go, is Fernando going to think ace high is good here? Actually, He-Man's got it.
Seat 5 actually has bet here with deuces.
Well, he's got a full house.
And Richard's going to call.
Everybody else folds.
And again, people always think that, being deceptive is just, feigning weakness. But actually, if you ever raised or bet with 3 Jacks, no one would ever put you on it. And now this is probably going to go check fold.
Wow, and he's moved all in.
Yeah. Maybe he hopes. A flush here with 3 of a kind on board is absolutely meaningless.
I mean, the pot is only about $80.
Yeah.
Maybe 100. It's an awfully big bet. I mean, do you want to get called here? And look, he says you have an 8. I mean, He-Man can't beat anything. Can't beat an 8, can't beat a Jack, he can't beat a King. He can only beat a pure bluff. He can beat a flush. That's about it. But I don't think Richard's betting a flush here.
Come on, He-Man.
And he's going to lay this down. Yeah, if you've never been to Tahoe, actually, I highly recommend it. Get yourself a girl. Drive up there, man. You got the casinos up there. You got the skiing, snowmobiling.
Yeah, pocket 3 is beat it.
King Queen offsuit here for seat number 9. We got a raise here by seat 9 with King Queen offsuit. He's going to make it 15 to go.
Yeah, and he gets called in seat number 2 with a Queen suited.
20 total.
He said leave him there.
lot of Broadway out there again. We've got a King 10 out there, another King 10, King Queen, Queen 8. Best hand is actually Ace Deuce. But he's not going to get involved, and this is going to go 3 ways. The pot's about $60.
Here we go.
And wow, look at that. All spades.
Yep. Now Todd's got King Queen with the King of Spades, but Eric has got top 2 pair.
Yeah, and this is an interesting flop here. Obviously, Fernando's got nothing. Todd's got a pretty big hand there, top pair with the King of Spades.
And Todd was the pre-flop raiser, so he's probably going to lead forward here.
And he does not have much money left. Clearly, there's no fold equity, right?
Well, you know, if you've got Queen 8 here, you might just raise the guy all in. He does.
Yeah.
And I think Todd's probably going to call here.
Yeah, Todd's not in bad shape at all, really. I mean, obviously a king would win it for him.
Yep.
A spade would win it for him. And if a card higher than an 8 comes and that pairs again, he would win as well.
Right. A running pair that's higher than 8 would also win it for him on the turn.
About 100. Good luck, bud.
And he does make the call here, Dave.
Yeah, and I mean, it's pretty much a coin flip. Obviously, Eric a little bit ahead there.
Yep. No, he hasn't called yet.
Really?
I thought he had put the chips up. I mean, he's got the King of Spades in his hand.
Kind of a no-brainer, isn't it?
Again, if you're deeper stacked.
Oh, if you're deeper stacked, obviously it's a lot harder.
Yeah, he makes the call.
I mean, we often talk about, obviously, if you're short stacked, it is easier to play in a lot of ways.
So,
Decisions are.
King or a spade here, or a higher pair. Well, no, he just needs a king or a spade. Yeah. There's a spade.
And I'm very excited there, too.
Yeah.
Eye in the sky is alive.
It's alive.
You know, it looks like he gave him a bad beat. It's not really. I mean, we're talking 55-45.
We had the percentages up there. It really wasn't that bad.
Thank you.
Live at the bank, folks. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hanson. You can catch us every Monday through Friday, 7 to 10 p.m. Tonight you're watching No Limit Hold'em. Blinds are 3 and 5. It's a $200 restricted buy-in game.
You can actually bring your stack up to 300 when you get below 100. Or if you go down a felt, you can bring it up to 300. So that's another way how, multiple chips get on the table.
Oh, definitely. Sometimes I'll play this game. I'll actually gamble up my first 200.
Especially right when you're at that breaking point. Say you're at like 110 and you've got a raise and a couple calls. You might even move in with ace-jack or ace-queen, right? Just try to get a raise or something.
I mean, I'll really gamble up my first 200. See if I can get it up to 350, 400 so I can really start playing poker. If I lose it, okay, I buy in for 300, and then I start playing poker. I just think 200 is not enough. You only have 40 times the big blind. It's just not enough to really operate with.
25 more.
Oh, we get a little mini raise here out of the blind. We've seen this a lot with a lot of inferior hands. At least this time, Peter's hand is okay. I probably wouldn't mini raise with the ace-jack offsuit, but...
Well, he's raising for value, I guess you could say.
You started that.
I agree with you, though.
I charge $5 using my periphrases, intellectual property.
I mean, I'll make raises with ace-queen, ace-king out of the blind, try to get it heads up or pick up the dead money, but I never understand the mini raise. Actually, you know what? That was limped around. He raised it to 25. That's actually not a mini raise, but we've seen it where,
Somebody makes it 15.
You get a $15 raise and 3 callers, and now the guy in the small blind raises it, makes it 30 with queen-jack offsuit. I don't understand what the point of that is. Right?
Yeah, no, I have to agree with you. Hey, I want to just let our viewers know. Some people might be interested that obviously Bart and I do play against each other once in a while, and we don't soft play each other. And the funny thing is that Bart is ahead of me right now. Over the last couple of weeks, that night that I got wasted, I gave you about $1,000. But on Friday night when we played together, you gave me about, I want to say, about 600 back? Maybe?
Yeah, but then I won that other
Right, I won about 800, and then I maybe gave you another 300. So all in all, I think I won about half of it back.
No, it was more than 300.
But I think you owe me 500. You want it?
I owe
Plus
you
sushi.
500. We get a raise here on the button.
Well, I thought the funniest thing was after you paid me off.
To
the tune of 500 on the river.
I was like, I don't know
actually said, yeah, I don't know you shoot for dinner anymore. I go, what is that all about?
Actually, it was probably more than usually inebriated. Me and Francois were pounding Bud Lights.
Were you drunk then? I didn't realize you were drunk. So I was taking advantage of you. I'm sorry. Top set for Fernando.
Now, Richard's going to make a continuation bet here with ace-king.
Yeah, and he's in really bad shape. Fernando's got top set.
Yeah.
Flop a 7-5 deuce.
It's a rainbow flop.
Might you just call this?
Well,
Might you call this or might you raise? There's always kind of a devil's advocate. The guy
I always in this spot, say 75 to 80% of the time, I'm going to make a mini raise here. I'm going to mini raise.
If you raise, obviously, you don't let somebody bluff. You don't let the bluffer keep going.
Turns
at the
the queen.
same time, if he has pocket jacks here, the queen's an action kill.
Yep. He checks it now. Now, the other way people might say, well, I let him catch up if he catches a king. Well, yeah, but I'm hoping he really has an overpair. And when I mini raise, say you had aces, and the flop, and I called you, and you were heads up, and the flop came 7 deuce 5. You bet, and I mini raised in position. I mean, kings or aces at that point, you're probably going to call.
I might even re-raise you.
You might even re-raise me, and again on the turn, I'm probably going to pot build again. That's why I always like to try to make that little pot, because if I raise and you at least call me with an overpair, say tens. A lot of people might just call there with tens. 7 deuce 5, I mini raise you call. Now I can again build the pot up even more on the turn.
The only way to win a big pot, obviously, is to build it. And if you're building it $75 here, $150 here, suddenly on the river, the pot is already $400.
Right.
You can put a nice $250 bet on
Again, I might
make it call.
I might make a half pot size bet on the turn when a blank comes. You might call me with tens, and then say the river pairs bottom pair. Now the pot's already $700 in the 5-10 game, and I make a nice $500 bet again.
Right.
I think you're good enough where you'd snuff out tens aren't good enough there, but say kings or aces.
No,
you know what I mean? It's just one of those situations.
Puts you in a tough spot, especially if you're going to play your draws the same way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now that board, obviously, 7-5 deuce rainbow. I got to tell you, if I bet it with kings or aces and you mini raise me,
yeah,
man, it's scary. I got to hope. I'm almost hoping you have tens or jacks.
Yeah.
It's the only hand I can beat.
Todd here has raised it out of the blind with ace-queen suited. Knowing me, I might mix it up and just smooth call with the set, playing it like I had jacks or tens.
Exactly. Obviously, if you're playing with people that are very familiar with your game, it's funny. I was actually we played the 5-10 game with a guy named Boston, who's a 2+2er as well as a frequent viewer and player on Live at the Bike. And it was funny. We were playing shorthanded. I had king queen. He had raised. I re-raised him in position, and the flop came out 9-10 jack. And he checked to me, and I checked right behind him.
Right.
Now, against most players, I'll actually bet that hand.
You had king-queen, right?
Yeah, I had flopped the nuts. And I checked it, against him, knowing that he would think I would bet it.
Right.
Pocket queens for seat number 8. And wow, we got some big hands here. We got ace, queen, and seat 5.
Yeah, he's open for 35 here, and let's see what seat 8's going to do.
And Peter's...
No, I'm not folding.
Is that a Pez dispenser?
It might be.
Oh, you want some gum? I'm sorry. Can you give my girlfriend some gum?
He's got a couple of red ladies there. That's a noisy dispenser there. I think it's rolling over our speakers.
Is he going to re-raise? Or
it looks like it.
Okay, 70 total.
70 total.
Mini re-raise here. Wow. You actually got kind of, Boston bet the turn. I think you raised him, and he called, and the river paired the board, and he bet, and you just called.
Well, yeah.
Hand, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you the hand in a second. He-Man going to call this mini raise with ace queen out of position. It's a hand that's easily dominated. Against a good, solid player, you don't really want to call this hand out of position.
No. You might do it.
But He-Man's going to call this. Give Peter a little bit of action. He's not real deep, though.
Well, here we go.
And look, he's missed it. Obviously, he's only going to 3 outs there. If he catches a queen, he's in real bad shape.
Peter moves all in.
Yeah, pretty straightforward there. He checks. Peter moves in.
126. If you need help, just call.
They told me.
And after you tell him about that hand with the king-queen, how about the hand where I had a flush draw and picked up a pair in the turn and made a running 2-pair? I think the board was kind of like this. You had jack 8. Yeah.
Very similar to
Now,
this.
say I have king 6 of diamonds. I lead out on the flop on this board. Dave raises me jack 8. I
well,
call.
after another person calls. Another person called you. Boston actually called you, and then I raised both of you.
Right.
I raised the top two pair. You called. The turn board had a king.
I checked.
You checked. I made a pot-sized bet. You called, and the river brought out your 2-card card, a 6. And you bet. You came out and bet a little bit, like about, I want to say about half the pot.
40 to 50% of the pot.
And I'm trying to look at him going, what did you need?
Could have been straight possibilities as well.
Well, that's what I thought. I was obviously putting you on diamonds, and I thought maybe you backed into a straight.
Clubs.
Clubs. But
Yeah.
And I thought you backed into a straight. little did I know you had the flush draw, but you backed into 2 pair and a higher 2 pair than I had. And I was only annoyed because I knew you had clubs, and I wouldn't have paid you off not a penny if a club had come.
Really? You wouldn't have paid me off like a $300 bet into a $1,000 pot on the river?
I'm not paying you a penny. I know you've got clubs.
2 ace kings here. Seat 3, seat 9, and pocket jacks for seat 4. And look at JR. Now, he's limped in with jacks. We saw him do this before. He didn't limp re-raise. Might he limp re-raise Peter now, though? Different player. That was
Peter,
for
he might, and you know what? He's in great shape because we see all the aces are almost dead here.
And it's actually Peter who's got ace 10. He's raised, and now Todd's going to re-raise with ace king.
Wow, you might throw away jacks here. I mean, if you're in a deep game here, you bet you get a raise and you get a re-raise. How do you like your jacks now?
And David, who's short, he might just move in now.
And if David moves all in, then what do you do with jacks?
Let's see if David, Now I think it's pretty easy fold.
Yeah, but jacks are in great shape.
Right.
I mean, he's an overwhelming favorite here. There's only 1 ace left. The 10 is no good, and there's only 2 kings left.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically the equivalent, so just so you know, because there's only 3 out. It's 1 ace and 2 kings. Basically equivalent of having kings against ace king.
Well, let me tell you, here's an easier question. Or here's an easier answer. If JR calls here, Peter needs to get that hand in the market without even a second thought. But I think Peter's going to call. And that's kind of the problem, right?
Peter's in really bad shape. And look at it, he calls.
Yeah, so Peter should easily fold this hand.
Oh, man.
He's got ace 10 offsuit. I mean, this is...
Look at this, and he calls without a second thought.
Wow, and I got to tell you, the flop comes out... I'm actually... Peter seems like a nice guy, but if this flop comes out 10 high...
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Wow, and we've already got about a $500 pot here. One person all in. There's about 300 in the main and probably 200 on the side.
And this flop comes out 10 high. Wow.
Actually, the whole thing is in the main, excuse me. There's no side pot right now.
Oh, man, look at that flop.
King, queen, 9.
That's such an ugly flop for jacks. Yeah. Jeez, and that is the, there's only 2 kings in the entire deck, and there it is, folks.
He checks.
Check and pay.
I'm all in.
All in.
Peter checks, and Todd moves all in with ace king. Which is probably the right play there with that flop in his hand.
Yeah.
2-7.
And David's got to like it. He's free rolling. He's got the ace of hearts in his hand. And it's a pretty easy laydown for JR against all those players.
Yep.
Somebody's got to have ace king in that scenario.
Stay, I'll stay.
Promise?
You go, I go.
You promise. Can't do that, guy.
I promise.
But he gets rid of the jacks. He doesn't like it. Now,
Well,
Peter
he's
is
got-
drawing to a gut shot to the jack.
Right,
there.
there's only 2 jacks left.
His ace is no good. Yeah, he's got 2 remaining jacks left or running 10s.
And he doesn't have a heart in his hand.
It's a gut shot. It's a gut shot.
That's what he says. It's a gut shot. And if he knew what seat number 4 had, it'd be an easy laydown. It's an easy laydown anyway.
What might be going through his head, Dave, is he's going to see 2 cards. It shouldn't really be going through his head, but no, he's going to fold it.
For $250? Who cares? How many cards do you see?
So we say David's on a free roll. Well, that's it.
Not
It's
anymore.
over. Chop it up.
Ace king.
Ace king, back and forth, folks.
Ace king. Chop chop.
So anyway, so that was your hand. The only thing that annoyed me about your king 6 hand that I told you that the hand was, it was the only way you were going to get paid off since I had jack 8. If it would come out runner,
King would
runner,
have counted.
king,
King would have counted for the deal.
I would have thought my jack was no good. I would have put you on a bigger jack than me. And if it came out, actually the other way you would have got paid was 2 6s. I might have paid you with running 6s.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That's it. I mean, it had to come out
Running
king 6 or running 6s for you to really make any money on the pot, which is the only reason I was annoyed.
I should have. Maybe if I bet more, you might have called on the river too. I might have been get more money off of you.
You might have. Who knows?
Play fake, partner.
It's going to be the last hand of the night, Dave, as always. Appreciate you. Everybody joining us. Stay tuned. We'll be back tomorrow with 300 to 500 no limit hold and another restricted buy-in game.
Just so anybody knows, that hand against Boston, actually, the river, by the time the river was the board, was Jack 10, 9, 9 blank.
Right.
And he bets pretty much the pot right into me, $350. I didn't think King Queen was a raising hand there.
Right.
I had that scary raise. That's just too scary.
You know, Boston, I think sometimes, I like his play, but I still sometimes think he gets caught up in the fact that he hasn't been playing the 5-10 game that long. And I still think that he protects himself or he's trying to overly play hands because he thinks he doesn't want to be bluffed out of a pot, which we often see happen when people move up.
Well, they just think they think that they're gonna they almost feel the opposite. They think they might play weak,
Right.
so they play it really strong.
Right. Had a little raise here. Now JR did not re-raise with ace queen. It's going to be the last hand of the night here. 9-7-5. Peter's got jack 9 and C8. The best hand right now.
And you always point out, too, it's kind of funny. People always think we're bluffing.
Right.
They always think we're folding.
Yeah.
Eric's open-ended.
I got to tell you, though, I mean, I know you kind of have a style of raising a lot in late position with connected cards and betting. But, you know, against the daytime crew, as I call it, a lot of people that I play during the day, you know, you don't really even need to do that. I've almost kind of changed my game up.
Completely straightforward,
yeah,
ABC.
Pretty much. It's just...
We'll just call you, we'll just call you Bart Russ Fox.
Well, it's not quite that bad, but not quite that straightforward. I don't mean to say bad. Peter's going to bet there with top pair. And that's going to do it for us, folks, tonight. Thank you for joining us. Another night down in the annals of Live at the Bike.
Yep.
Again, you can catch us out in the archives. Click on the archive banner. For Dave Tuckman, everybody here in the booth, I'm Bart Hanson. Good night, everybody, from Live at the Bike.
It's here. It's big. And it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the Bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.